Mm, definitely. You. It's you. Oh, I gotta fix my scroll. I think I'm gonna turn this down a little bit. There we go. Okay, it's not as intense. Oh, maybe let's turn it up a little bit. All right, welcome up. Welcome in, everybody. HH guy. You know, I am agnostic to mythicism, so it's compelling. Well, Dietrich, you can try. You can definitely try. Possibility of God, you don't need to convince me of that. I know, depending on which God, one is possible, but depending on which religion you're talking about, yeah. And I only want to talk to people who are either Christian, Muslim, or Jewish. So if you're a deist coming at me with a Build-A-Bear God, I'm not interested in talking about that. Crystal. Oh, Jace, that's what we're talking about. You understand what Matthew 28 and 1 Peter 3 verse 15 say. Let's go. Resist oppression on the YouTube side. And Chuck McNorris. We'll say it was tied. Matthew 28 verses 19 and 20 and 1 Peter chapter 3 verse 15 and 16. Up north, thank you. So, all right, everybody, tap that screen. Oh, Jace, you left. I was just about to accept you. You just did your first live. And the one viewer and the golden win. That's all you need. I don't know why Resist Oppression, they held that comment for review damn close, that's for sure. I was bouncing. I don't understand. I don't get it. Hey, Pokey, good to see you, and thank you for that. Share that screen, like tap that screen like the Romans tap Jesus. Wow. I love the metaphor, simile. Okay, I gotta pull this screen over here so I can see it. And we need to put the cards here because Now, bingo is still going. So there's still time if you want to sign up and play. And I was thinking of doing a bit of a change to the voting, like introducing other things to vote on. Holy Ghost, Jesus is King. Why are most of the lives I've seen are Christians all of a sudden? You know, I think that happens like around these holidays like Easter and Christmas. I think that has a lot to do with it. Oh, there's a truck outside, sorry. And it's such a nice day, so I have the window open. There is a truck. It's a garbage truck. So God is good, then why Christians so bad? It's all right, HH. Pokey is a friendly. He's just trying to get people in here. Some hashtags. Zombie Jesus went on a 40-day boasting tour 1993 years ago today. It's a nice day here and it's garbage day. Yeah. It's trash day here too. And it's a nice day. Man, not a cloud in the sky. That is wild. Oh, wait. There's some in the distance. Okay. All right. Well, let's bring up Rav. Parallel Rib Universe, right? How's it going, Rav?
Pretty good, man. How you doing?
Doing well, thanks. Appreciate you being up here.
I just had such a good time yesterday. I figured
You came back for more, huh?
round two, yeah.
Frank,
It's an
I
all-you-can-eat
believe in things
buffet.
with evidence. So if I don't have evidence for something, I don't believe it. Yeah, that was wild yesterday. Do you post content like clips and all that, Rev?
Not really. I mean, I
Okay.
really just, yeah, I like to sit on lives and have conversations with people, and hopefully, I mean, yesterday I was really hoping to have like a new novel conversation with somebody that spoke Hebrew,
Right.
you know? So like, uh,
I guess that was the
yeah,
first mistake, thinking that you were up with someone who spoke Hebrew.
yeah, right. Like, hey, am I coming through clear?
Yeah, you're a tiny bit muffled, but
Maybe quiet.
a little quiet, but I can hear you.
Okay, I'll speak up.
Okay. Yeah, you're okay. Your levels are fine. I'm looking at your levels. You're like you're hitting green right into yellow, and I think that's good enough.
Okay.
And Christ, Lord of Lords, that is an incorrect grasp. I do not believe I'm God. Because I don't think any gods exist, including me. So that's a contradiction. Can't say I don't believe in any gods and then call myself a god. That doesn't make sense. You believe in science. Yeah, we've got hundreds of years of evidence that science works.
Have I ever given you my Venn diagram?
No. Do you want to? Here,
I
I'll
can
make
just
you big,
explain.
and can you
Well,
show it?
I won't even. Yeah, I can try and let me see if I have a copy of it on my phone. But
Okay.
it's pretty easy to explain. But give me
Okay.
1 second.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Hey, veggies, it's good to see you. Christian's request up. I want to play more bingo. Yeah, exactly. Prove to me that something comes from nothing. Why would I do that? I don't believe that, Millie for Prez. So I don't know who you're talking to about that. Actually, you should probably ask a Christian that, because that's what Christians believe. They believe something comes from nothing. Do we have evidence that God is not real? Yep. I would call it quantum physics. That's pretty good evidence that God isn't real. Isn't existence the proof of a creator? How? How is that proof of a creator? Oh, that garbage truck is pretty loud. It's a garbage truck. It's trash day today, and my windows are open. I don't feel like closing it right now, so it'll just be a couple minutes. Hang in there, guys. What are quantum physics? You can Google that, James Johnson. The branch of physics that deals with all things quantum. Follow Acts 2:38 in the Bible. Why would I do that? All right, let's check out this Venn diagram. Yes, I totally agree with the first one.
Great. So the idea that faith doesn't require any evidence of any kind, and belief, faith is a type of belief, and knowledge is also a type of belief. Like people can have a knowledge claim that they believe is true, even though it's not based on good information. So people believed that it was acceptable, and people knew that it was acceptable to own people as property, right? But obviously this is wrong. And so people continue to say that they know that the earth is flat, right? They continue to know this. I mean, they know this, but it's a belief. It's not, and it lacks understanding. And so understanding is a knowledge claim that is based on epistemic humility and a huge amount of information that is going through, thought about critically. And so, like when people say they believe in evolution, like I don't know that that is an accurate description. Like I think we have our best understanding of evolution, and it would take an immense shift in our knowledge to change that. But we have this epistemic humility to say this is the best I know with the information that I have.
Yeah.
And the applied understanding is wisdom. The ability to use that understanding and apply it towards something is the wisdom. And so when people say like, oh, you're just acting on faith. No, it's actually based on wisdom. It's based on this is my best understanding. And so I'm able to use my understanding to intuit the best decision. It's not that I'm just have no inputs and there's nothing, that's driving that decision.
Yeah.
No, it's, yeah. Anyway.
I'm totally with this, and I totally get this. And I wouldn't say out and out that, faith is bad. I think, though, that if you're using faith to assert facts, that's a problem. And that's really what I'm pushing against.
Yeah, I don't think that it's a qualitative, like I'm not trying to make a qualitative claim about it. I'm just saying it's that the tier with which you make your decisions and sort of explain your thinking, faith will be the lowest possible rung on that ladder.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I think people they just stop at that rung and they don't go any further than that. And I'm also with you that to have like the epistemic humility to say, yeah, I'm not sure this is true, but it feels true and I'm okay with that. I think if a lot more people just said that, at least as far as I'm concerned, that would pretty much be the end of the conversation. I would just be like, okay, that's fine.
Yeah. Epistemic humility plus curiosity. Like then like the next step to be curious and be like, oh, if I don't know something, how do I figure out who does know something?
Yeah. And I think that's another challenge too, because a lot of people I talk to, I should probably ask this more and ask them, is there anything that would change your mind? What would change your mind? And I have asked it before, Rav, and a lot of people tell me nothing. Nothing will change my mind. I don't have any evidence this is true, but there's nothing that will change my mind of my belief in my faith. And that's dangerous. I got to be honest. That's dangerous. We can point to several instances in human history where something like that is dangerous. Just accepting something is true just because somebody told you that.
The first time we talked, you reminded me of this phrase that I like to use, and um, the phrase is
Hmm.
clarify and verify, which like your name reminded me of that. And I think like um, what you're saying is the best practice is something along the lines of like figuring out how they came to that understanding, and then like the extra step is like walking it through together, like
Hmm.
the verification piece of it, and like that requires a willing partner. You can lead a horse to water, right? But like if there's no
Right.
curiosity, if there's no desire to like learn more and expand, then it's like, what do you do with that? And that's scary. I agree, that's just so scary.
Yeah, it's scary. And so then for me it turns into as a way of kind of holding the mirror up and then letting the everybody who's watching see this. Like, see, this is how dangerous this is. This is how, irrational this is. This is, you know, there's just look at the things going on with this. This is why you should be concerned. And I also want to get to the point, in that kind of interaction where not only do I want to show people who, want to have these conversations, but, don't really know how, maybe my approach to do it. And now I'm not saying I have the right approach. It's just one approach. But the other part of it is also anyone considering a belief like this, some of these things you're just going to have to defend. And,
Yeah.
if you can defend it the right way, just own up to it and just say, yeah, that's pretty terrible. Or, this is it's a literary, trick or something like that. It's an allegory, it's a metaphor. Okay, fine. We can go down that route. But to say, and God is still good, despite everything, all these atrocities or something, or, and God makes sense despite the fact that it contradicts or something like that,
I've got a whole host of other thoughts, but I don't want to derail. So,
No, you're good.
yeah.
You're good. But let's bring up a guest. And your thoughts are welcome, Rav,
Thanks, man. Thank
but yeah, I want to get to a guest here. My little button will come up. Okay, we have Lewis Isaac. Okay, so just a reminder, everybody, if you are in the guest queue, please be at least 18, a believer in the God of the Bible, the Torah, or the Quran, and please have evidence that God is real. And we're joined by my friend Rav here. So let's bring up our first guest. This is Lewis. See if Lewis can connect. Okay. Looks like, Lewis, you might have some Wi-Fi issues, so maybe try leaving the live, coming back in, moving to a spot where your Wi-Fi is a little better, and then try to reconnect. I've heard people say that God is good all the time, and all the time God is good. Yeah, that would be a circular argument. God is real, but not in the way most people think. Well, I would say it depends, like, which way you're coming from. Like, like some people will say God being a concept is real, just God being a concept, for people thinking about God makes the concept of God real. And, I think I'm approaching it from the perspective of, is God real? Like I'm real, like Rab is real, like everybody in this chat is real. That's the perspective I'm coming from.
Did I ever tell you my? Well, I just had it. Never mind. Yesterday I had this thought. I think it was actually during your live, but I don't think I brought it up. But somebody said uh, Yeshua is salvation, um, like meaning Jesus is salvation. But I don't think they knew that Yeshua in Hebrew means salvation. So it's like a circular thing to begin with. Like salvation is
Salvation is
salvation.
salvation. Yeah. God is in you. I don't have any evidence for that. And I can safely say God is not in me right now. No. So we're looking for our guest because we have some bingo to play. We have some people with some bingo cards, and, you know, they're like a couple spots away from winning. Well, Z, request up and give us evidence that God is real. Let's not sit in the comments and throw meta. All right, let's go with Zelomus. How's it going?
Yo, long time no see. How you been?
Good. I'm sorry, I don't remember.
It's a
meeting you
long
before.
time ago.
It was
Yeah,
it?
it's a long time ago. It was a long time ago. I was watching your live, and you were talking about everything. And I'm actually atheist, but I was just letting you know that you're doing great.
Oh,
You're
thanks.
amazing. I love you. I love your content. Thank you for being you. I love that.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Wow.
And I
No
appreciate
problem.
the support.
All right, you have a great day, guys.
All right. Take care, Zelomus. That was very nice to hear. JPAC, can you answer the question about what material is God made of? It's going to get a big, that's going to get a big, I don't know. And that's okay. That's an intellectually honest answer. I praise people when they say, I don't know. Someone had to create Earth and mankind. Why? Why is that? Who do we have over on the YouTube side? I don't, Truth 666. I don't think there's a way to justify beliefs, and I believe believers know that. And again, that's fine. I don't think, see, I think it's okay to have beliefs that you can't justify. I think it's okay. You know, that's what we call gut feeling, right? I have a gut feeling. We have gut feelings all the time. But I think just calling it that and just being okay with that, I think that's where, you know, I think that's where the tension is, because I'm not sure why, but it's not good enough to just have a gut feeling about believing in God. Like, it has to go further, and I'm not sure why. It seems to be an issue with like Christians and Muslims. I'm not sure if you know what your stance is on this, Rav, but like when I've talked to like people who practice Judaism, I mean, they more often than not, they're okay with saying, yeah, I don't know, or, you know, something like that. It's rare that I find someone in that religion who has like this like staunch certainty, like this, you know, like just this absolute certainty. It's pretty rare. It happens every once in a while, but it's rare. But mostly I get people who are like, yeah, you know, it could be, or I'm not sure, you know, this is what we believe. This is what it says. And, you know, something like that.
Have you ever heard of the phrase machloket l'shem shamayim by any chance?
No, I have not.
Okay, no problem. So it's argument for the sake of heaven. The idea that there's two Jews, three opinions, and that you're supposed to have discussions and hold multiple perspectives and ask questions, and you know, that the notion that there's a single answer is almost hilarious.
Yeah.
There's no sort of, it's a democratization of knowledge and text and learning, as opposed to a top-down, you know, authoritative sort of thing.
Yeah. Okay. And see, I'm good with, and you know what? That is support, like, you know, I'm just thinking of like Ezekiel 18 in the Hebrew Bible, right? In the Old Testament, where, you know, God is having a discussion with his people, you know, because they're pretty upset, right? And he's having this discussion, and he's and the tone of the discussion is like a bit of reassurance, right? Which is kind of interesting for Ezekiel, because there's all kinds of like mean stuff in Ezekiel. So it's a kind of a weird thing. It's a weird juxtapose, but I think of it like that. So there's these instances all over the Bible where God is this way. And of course he's, you know, and he's a meanie too, but still, you know, he has his
Also,
moments where.
Sorry.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
God is rarely the end all be all. Is what
Yeah.
is what I'm trying to say. That like
Yeah.
there's constant negotiation and discussion, even with God.
Exactly. Hey, Ember, how you doing?
Doing good. First two episodes of the new season are fire, by the way.
Oh, okay. Say no more, please.
I know. Oh my God, I won't.
Even
I
that's a
won't,
spoiler.
but so good. Yeah. I mean, we knew that the episodes were going to be fire.
Oh, of course.
For anyone who doesn't know, the new season, the last season of The Boys, first two episodes are out, and
Yeah.
it's very exciting.
I'm getting goosebumps.
Yes,
just thinking about it. So
it's
I'm
gonna
excited.
be a wild ride. I'm pumped. So yeah, so it's been a good day.
That's awesome. Well, that whole series has been a wild ride. I mean, I'm just thinking back to the first episode.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's so much. Even season 4, we watched season 4, you know, again leading up to this, and just so many wild things happen. It just keeps getting more and more intense. Just when you
Okay.
think they can't go, you know, more unhinged, they go more unhinged.
That's awesome.
Yes.
That's awesome. Yeah. Can't wait. Okay. Well, like I said, I know what I'm doing tonight. Watching the first 2 episodes.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So we have Acts 2 verse 38 KJV, who's in the guest queue. So let's bring them up. All right. Acts 2 verse 38. How's it going?
Hello.
Hi. Can I get your age and pronouns, please?
I'm not sure about the pronoun. I'm a female. Does that
Okay.
cover it? Okay.
Oh, that's your
Sorry
that's your
about that.
sex. I appreciate that.
Okay.
Which which pronouns do you like to be preferred to? Like he, she, her, them, they,
Human, female.
human, female.
Yeah, female. I would say.
That's gonna be a lot to say for me,
Okay.
but okay, we'll try and respect it. But
I mean, no disrespect. No disrespect.
Female isn't a pronoun though.
yeah, it's not a pronoun.
It's really not difficult to say what your pronouns are. Pronouns are a very normal part of language.
Okay. Well, I mean, no offense. Look, listen, we're all trying to learn from each other, are we not?
Yeah, so
There you
you
go.
can learn a lesson right now.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, that pronouns are easy, right? And you can just easily give your pronouns.
Okay. Well, I mean, again, I would like to be addressed by what my name is. I don't really
Right,
feel
but
like
people are going to refer to you in chat, right?
Uh-huh.
They're going to talk about things that you're saying in chat. So
I
they're
see what you're
going
saying.
to
Okay,
use-
so she then, if is that
There we go.
Perfect, thank you.
Awesome.
That's all we
Wonderful.
needed. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so I really came to try to not really debate, but I have questions of what
Timer.
makes you feel as though God isn't real. Like what has happened to you in your life that has caused you to lose your, and again, I want to say this in a respectful way because I mean no disrespect, but what has made you lose your faith, if that's the correct way to say it?
Oh yeah. I can take you through it. So in a nutshell, it started with reading the Bible all the way through, cover to cover. I was a Christian for over 30 years. I was going to go in the seminary, and then I was tasked with reading the Bible. It was strongly advised, and I did that, and I had a lot of questions, and then I went to people with my questions, and then ended up having more questions, and then it was just a snowball effect of question after question after question that wasn't getting answered. And just rereading the Bible, rereading it, and seeing like the horrific things in there, the things that don't make sense, the things that don't add up, the unfulfilled prophecies, and it just came to a head one day, and I just said, I don't believe it. It's just unbelievable. So it was pretty much that simple.
Well, thank you for that. That's amazing. And I appreciate you taking the time to even say that.
Sure.
I would say throughout my life, and if you don't mind, I can give a little bit of my, I guess, personal testimony.
Yeah, you can keep it kind of short though.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. The question here is that what's your best evidence that God is real, correct?
Right.
Okay. So here is my evidence that I'm going to give you. I understand exactly where you're coming from as far as asking questions and them not being answered. Also, it sounds personal for me from what you just told me is that people in humanity has failed you and not led you to the proper ways of living for God.
Oh, no, God has failed me too, because, God could just easily show of himself. God could just easily appear and make himself known, and he hasn't. So that's a failure on God too, if this God exists.
Here's the thing though. It's not a failure on him because he has given it all. And he already sacrificed his life and gave his life for you and me and anybody else.
I don't know if that's true though.
But it is though, because
how do we know it's true?
Absolutely 100%. And that's why I have the name that I have, Acts 2:38.
Awesome. How do we know it's true? Yeah. How do we know it's true that God sacrificed himself?
Because there is evidence. There is so much evidence.
Like
he is the only out of any belief system out there in the entire world. No matter what God you believe in, no matter what you choose to worship, whatever, he is the only one who has brought himself down to humanity and gave his life for them.
That's not
no
true.
other God. It is absolutely.
No,
Can you
no,
tell
no.
me any other God who has sacrificed his life, his personal life for you or anybody else?
If you read through the Hindu texts, there's one of the Hindu gods did that, performed a sacrifice for humanity. Happened in the Greek mythology. It happened in the Egyptian mythology. It's happened in just about every religion out there.
So you're telling me
so
that
it's not anything. It happened in Zoroastrianism. So it's not anything remarkable.
So you're telling me that they sacrificed their lives and rose again?
Yes. Now it's not, except for Zoroastrianism. The Savior hasn't risen yet, but the belief is that the Savior will at some point. But this directly precedes Christianity and
so Jesus
Judaism.
Christ has risen. He is alive and well.
How do we know that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Listen, I'm telling you from my personal experience.
Okay.
He is alive because I have received the Holy Ghost myself and I have spoke with other tongues. That means I've followed Acts 2:38. I have repented of my sins and been baptized in Jesus' name. He has filled me with the Holy Ghost. That means I have spoken with a heavenly language, which is the evidence of Jesus Christ himself rising again. And I am covered by the blood.
Okay. Well, the problem with that is that the speaking in tongues, we can't discern whether or not, like, it's actually... we can't discern whether or not it's just a made up thing, in people's minds, or if it's an actual, like an event that occurs or some type of phenomenon that occurs.
So then
we have no way to measure it. Yeah, we have no way to measure it.
So what do you think? We're just speaking things into the universe when we have a prayer that needs to be answered and it's met and he reveals himself through that?
It's about
היום על לבביך ושננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך.
Now that, what was that, Rev?
I'm speaking in heavenly tongue.
Oh, Hebrew.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I guess where we're at with this though is that, like, with prayer, they've tried to measure this and decipher it and all that. And we had this conversation, like, was it yesterday or the day before, about prayer? The guy with the bad neck who
Oh yes,
You
yeah,
remember?
like 2 days ago.
Yeah, it was just
Mhm.
a couple days ago. Yeah, the guy with the bad neck, and he had neck pain for 9 days, and then his friends prayed, and then it was better after 9 days. See, the problem, guest, is that what we've determined is that like prayer doesn't work any better than like a coin flip. You know, it's like maybe 50% effective. And see, if that were the case, then because everybody pray, you know, a lot of people pray. I mean, when I was a Christian, I prayed a lot, and a lot of my prayers didn't get answered. And, you know, especially when it says in John 14 verses 12 through 14, you know,
So let me
if you
ask
ask
you,
it,
when
if you ask in my name, it will be done. And it just doesn't happen, you know, because if that were the
again-
case, there wouldn't be hospitals.
hold on. Yeah, but because we have hospitals, again, we have the ability. Do you realize that when we're filled with the Holy Ghost, that we have been given the same authority that Jesus Christ had on this earth? Peter raised a woman from the dead.
There's no evidence of that.
Yeah, we don't have any
How
evidence
do
of
you
that.
say there's no evidence of that? How do you say, if you say there's no
Where's
evidence
the
of
evidence?
that?
Where's the evidence?
Yeah, you can't independently
It's
verify
written
it.
in the Bible. It's
How do we know
written-
that's
The
true,
Bible
though?
is just a claim, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
How do we know the Bible's true?
Because it's a living, breathing word. You have to personally seek that out. And you said you've read it, but if you have not received
Yeah.
the gift of the Holy Ghost, you have not stepped into the spiritual realm to even understand. It says,
What is even
"Ask
the
and you
spiritual
shall
realm?
receive."
What is even the spiritual realm? Like, where
Being
is that?
filled with the Holy Ghost and being
Right.
allowed to be in heavenly places while you're in this earth. The
I know.
Holy
What I'm
Ghost
saying,
is a
though,
helper.
is that we should be able to verify that that's true, right? How do we verify that that's what you're saying is true?
You
That there is this Holy
receive-
Spirit. Like, yeah. How do you verify that you received it apart from, you know, how do you distinguish it from, say, a psychological delusion? Because, you know, another study that we've done shows that people who believe in, like, you know, that they've seen God, or, you know, have like these spiritual experiences that you're talking about, they cannot so they can pinpoint it in the brain, and it seems to light up the same areas in the brain as like when a person who's diagnosed with schizophrenia has a delusion. So how would you be able to tell us like a way that we can distinguish between like a person who has schizophrenia having a delusion and a person having a religious experience?
Because someone that has schizophrenia has stepped into the spiritual in the incorrect way, which means they have opened themselves to the
We
spiritual
still don't
that
know.
is not
We still
how
don't know if
schizophrenia
that's.
works.
Yeah,
That's
we
not
still
how
don't have
that
any
works.
evidence of that. Yeah.
Schizophrenia is not a choice. No, we're not going to allow
No one's saying- hold
misinformation.
on.
No,
No one's
we're not going
saying-
to allow misinformation.
I'm not sure why you're getting upset.
X, I'm not getting upset. I'm not
They're
getting upset.
just calling
I'm
out
just stopping you.
misinformation. Yeah, they're
Yeah,
stopping
just-
misinformation. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not getting upset. I'm speaking in a very even tone. This is misinformation, and it's not okay. Schizophrenia is not a choice. It is not something that people step into in the wrong way. They are diagnosed because of the way their brain is. It is not something that it's their neurochemistry.
So what
it
you're-
is
so
not
what
a
you're
choice
telling
that
me-
they
hold on.
make.
So what you're telling me is if someone has schizophrenia, you're saying that it's something that's just it's something in the mind. But if someone steps
Yes.
into but if someone steps into the spiritual through the Holy Ghost in the right way, you tell us we're delusional?
No, what I'm asking you is
Well, I mean,
help us.
religious psychosis is a thing too.
It is a
I'm
thing.
sorry?
What I'm saying.
Religious psychosis is a thing too.
It is a thing, and what we're asking you is help us distinguish between a delusion and an actual experience, because like I said, it lights up the brain in the same way. So the studies show that's what it shows. Neuroscience can't distinguish the two. So how about you tell us how we could distinguish it? Like, what method could we use, or what test could we run to determine that it is indeed this experience with the Holy Ghost and not like a religious psychosis?
Well, but that's the power, is that you seek it for yourself personally, privately. And remember, I asked you the question. I said, have you sought him out personally for yourself?
Absolutely,
right?
I have. Yeah.
Okay,
And I
okay.
thought I had,
So-
and I thought I
so-
had religious experiences. I thought
here's the
I
thing,
was in with the Holy Spirit. I thought I was talking to Jesus. I thought I was talking to God. But those were all delusions that I had, all of them.
But here's
So-
the thing, though. It's not a delusion, because you are literally, sir,
Well-
literally still on this journey towards him.
There's
But I
no,
need you to
there's
give me
no
evidence.
evidence of that. Adam.
Yeah.
But
We
here's
just
the
need you to
But
give
there's
me
no
evidence.
evidence of that. You're just giving more and more claims without evidence. You're not giving us any reason to believe that that is the case.
Yeah.
Well, again, the evidence is you trying to still search this out. If you truly
That's
didn't
not
believe that-
evidence, because many people are spiritual. Many people are on a path seeking, and they end up other places. There's the only reason that you're a Christian is because you were born in the United States. If you were born in a different country, you would have been, oh, and we have a dragon.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, Axe, I got
Yep.
the dragon, so I gotta let you go. But hey, appreciate you coming up. I love the
Woo.
dragon. I'm not gonna lie, I love the dragon.
I was surprised you didn't ask if she had read the Bible.
Oh, I can guarantee she hasn't.
That was a lot.
Yeah, that was a lot. I know that, well, I mean, we know she's read Acts 2 verse 38. I know she's read that.
Well, one of the things that Rav brought up is that there's 3 pronouns in Acts 2:38.
Mm-hmm. Good
You,
point.
your, and you.
So
Good point. That's a very good point. Oh, and somebody did the early kick poll. My bad. I missed that. So who bought the early kick poll? Oh, actually, we can go back and find it. Let's see. Who was it that bought the early kick poll? Whoever bought the early kick poll, it's not showing me on my list, but whoever bought it, you get a coupon, early kick poll coupon that you can redeem at any time. And we can thank Aaliyah
Lena-
for sending the dragon. So thank you, Aaliyah.
yes, thank you, Aaliyah. And Lena, no praying for people without their consent in chat. Thank you.
No prepuce, please. No prepuce. And I think what I'm going to do also, Ember and Rav, I'm going to replace the word grape and the R word. I'm going to use, I want to use the term sexual violence a lot more, because there are verses in the Bible that talk about, like, because sexual violence encompasses a lot more than just grape, right? Sexual violence encompasses,
definitely.
yeah, like stripping somebody naked,
Harassment.
harassment, lifting up skirts, like it says in the Bible, things like that. It was research for the last video I did, and I was,
Haunting, stuff like that.
Yep.
Mhm.
yeah, threatening is sexual violence as well. Threatening to harm somebody.
Coercion, manipulation.
coercion, exactly.
That's all violence.
All of it. So I want to put forth that term because I want to cover all the bases, because I think we get caught up just in the act of, like, intercourse as far as grape or, penetration. We only think of it that way, but
Yeah.
but sexual violence covers all forms of sexual assault, and it's violent.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
That's
it's violent.
something I advocate for too, because of my past
Yeah.
experiences.
Yeah.
That it's so much more that I thought that I what's the word? Downplayed my previous experiences because they weren't the physical violence.
Yes.
When it was still violent, even though it was manipulation and coercion and
Yeah.
all of that. It was, and the shaming and stuff like that. That is still violence.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the threats, the shaming, all that. It's, or just referring to people as sexual objects, like, in very graphic and horrific ways. That's violent. And so that's why I want to encompass all of that stuff, is I think we forget about all that stuff. At least I do. And I don't want to forget about that stuff. Yeah. So
I'm here for it.
word.
Oh my God. By the way, I estimated. But
Thank you,
hold on
Tracy.
1 second. 5 days.
It's been 5
Since the
days? Has
last
it really been
Patriot-
5 days?
Mhm.
Wow.
It has,
That's
at
amazing.
least. So
Now, hopefully I don't get jinxed and fuck it up. I have to
nah,
stay.
I think you'll be good.
Okay. I have to stay humble and not rest on my laurels. Like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm over this patriarchy thing. Yeah. No,
I need to
I
say
have to.
since last patriarchy incident. Okay.
Yeah.
There we go.
5 days. Yes.
Yep.
Absolutely
You're
right,
doing
Aaliyah.
good.
Don't muck it up. Exactly. So it's almost like being in, like, AA, 12 step, got to get a chip and all that
The
shit.
accountability. Yes, exactly.
It's 5 days.
Once you
Yeah.
get to 7 days, woo!
Yes. Yeah. Hi, my name is Trust. I'm a former recovering misogynist, and it's been 5 days since my last patriarchy incident. Very happy to be here.
I trust.
Experience,
Oh,
strength, and
man.
hope. Trust.
Thank you.
Experience,
Thank
strength, and
you.
hope.
So,
Okay, you guys make me small.
hey, Katie. Oh, yeah. Okay. There we go. My mental illness is not my fault, but it is my responsibility. Exactly. And so to say that it was a choice, schizophrenia is some type of choice, or, all the host of, mental illnesses out there and conditions. Yeah, nobody can help how their brain is shaped, or how the chemicals in our bodies affect our brain, or how our brain affects our bodies. Nobody has control of any of that. If anything, that's just how you came out, and exactly never chose. So it's just managing it. It's management. And so so I'm just glad you shut that down, Ember.
Yeah,
nip
I
that
just
shit in the
wasn't
bud.
gonna.
Yeah.
No ableism here.
Yeah. And I've been told that my mental illness can be prayed away, and that's extremely hurtful and harmful, because what they're saying, Zeely, and I'm sorry that happened, but but when people say that, they're basically saying it's your fault. And so if it's prayed away and it doesn't work, then somehow it's your fault. It's something that you're doing. It's never God. It's something you're doing. And that's, that's such a tough lesson to learn too. Yeah. This took me such a long time to get that to stick. Exactly. We're telling people that's how prayers work. Lots of people say that. Get 'em, Tiger. And your Bible says that. The New Testament says that. It says that all over the New Testament. Ask and you shall receive. Have faith but the size of a mustard seed, and you can move mountains. Well, to some people with a mental illness, like praying for it to go away is like moving a mountain. It's equivalent to something like that. Absolutely, Zeely. I hope I'm saying it right. Zeely, but I'll just say Z. But yeah, to some people that would be considered moving a mountain, and and that's just one of the promises Jesus made that just is a flat out lie. It's a bald-faced lie. And so that's dangerous stuff. Prayer warriors and all that stuff, super extremely dangerous, because it tells the other person that they aren't good enough. And I was just talking to Ember about this. I'm dealing with that to some degree in my family right now. And it's very tough when somebody gets that in their mind that they aren't good enough. And, and that's like a shame cycle. And shame is extremely powerful. This isn't, and especially when it's the type of shame where where you tell yourself, I'm fundamentally flawed, because then that implies that it's unfixable, and that this is just who you are, and that's so damaging, so damaging. Your whole worldview is on the basis that the universe is meaningless. Yeah, so what? So what if that's true, CMABs? So you need to demonstrate that it's meaningful. You had to be chosen to believe in God and to understand the word of Jesus. So then it's not for everybody. And so for God to punish everybody because they weren't chosen, why are you complaining about prayers then? Because it's dangerous, because it makes people do dangerous shit. And any religion that makes people do dangerous shit needs to go away.
Well, and this comment really bothers me. Someone said that your focus can, it said the combined focus can change energy. And
No.
what I responded was, would you say that, or can you say that to children who are dying of cancer in
Right.
hospitals? Like, can
Exactly.
they change their situations? No, you can't. It like, what are you doing then on TikTok? If you know how to change energies and you know how to cure cancer, and just by changing energies and focusing, then why aren't you in children's hospitals right now?
Exactly.
And and
Just
telling
praying them
them
away.
how to change their situations.
Exactly.
Yo,
Catholic Orthodox, how's it going?
I'm good. I'm good.
All right. Can I get your
Yeah,
age and
bro.
pronouns, please?
Yeah, he, him, and 23.
All right. And let's see, Catholic Orthodox. So we know which God you believe in. So what's your best evidence that God is real?
I mean, I do have an argument, but I also do want to know, like, the Catholic Church has given away billions in charity to people.
Yeah,
So I
they've
mean to
given
say,
away
like,
billions in settlements for all the child sexual abuse too.
well, you're gonna find child sexual abuse in almost every place there is.
In heaven?
Not as rampant as it is in
Of course, it's
religion.
not gonna
It's
be in heaven, right?
protected in
But
religion.
Okay.
this seems to not be like an exclusive issue to just one religion. It
Oh
just
yeah, I
seems to
totally
be a people
agree.
issue.
I
Yeah,
totally agree.
even within like atheist communities, like this is an issue. It's an
Yeah,
issue
but
with
atheism
you.
isn't a
But
religion.
atheism isn't like,
And
yeah, we're not an
Yeah, I
not a
know
organized
that's my
group.
point. It's
And
not
the problem with
exclusive
that
to a
though is,
religion.
yes, it happens in atheist communities, but more often than not, it gets reported properly, and it's not something that an organization tries to hide. Because atheism isn't an organization; it's just a lack of belief. It's a belief, a lack of belief. It's a mental state, a statement about your mental position on something. So it's not an organization, but when it's coming from the top down, when an organization like the Catholic Church is taking great pains to systematically hide these cases, reassigning priests, and then trying to settle quietly out of court, forcing people to sign NDAs, and then when people go public, suing them, to the point where people have attempted to unalive themselves. That's a problem. So okay, so that's great that they
Yeah,
gave
I
away
mean,
billions, but they've also given away billions in
what?
in settlement money.
How
No,
does
they haven't.
abuse, Catholic,
Can
how
you
does
can you actually
abuse,
demonstrate that?
how does abuse in other like churches
And
or other
also to
areas
know,
of
well, you
society?
said
Wait,
yeah,
hold on, Catholic
atheists.
Rav, you're very quiet. Catholic
Sorry.
Rav was speaking.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
How does abuse in other areas of society negate the abuse that the church you are representing does? In other words, why bring up a whataboutism and avoid discussing the abuse and $5 billion paid out by the Catholic Church? To say it happens elsewhere in society also doesn't do anything to sort of alleviate the claim against you.
Yeah.
Like
So
if
from
somebody
according
commits
to
a
the
crime,
sorry to interrupt, but according to this website, the Catholic Church in the United States has paid over $5 billion in settlements and costs related to clergy sexual abuse over the past 2 decades. The Archdiocese of Los Angeles in 2024 agreed to an $880 million settlement for over 1,300 victims, bringing their total payouts to over $1.5 billion. That's just one archdiocese, just one. So
Is that a Google overview?
it is. And if you want to go to the National Catholic Reporter, it says it right there.
Is it a .com?
It's the National Catholic Online Reporter. It's your very own website. More than $5 billion spent on
I don't
Catholic
think that
sexual
is a
abuse
Catholic website.
allegations. New report finds during the 20 years of survey. So that's your evidence. So now, what's your evidence that they haven't paid that much? What is your evidence of what they paid?
I could actually go on my computer and pull it up.
All right,
and
we'll pull it
while
up.
I'm- while I'm
I
doing
just
that,
gave you
I could-
evidence, so go pull it up.
Yeah, I
doesn't
could
believe in
respond
the
to your brother
efficacy
as
of
well at the
.coms.
same time.
That's what he's saying, host.
Yeah, so wait, yeah, so he was saying, why am I bringing this up? It doesn't alleviate what happened in this community. Well, yeah, I get that. My whole point is it's not exclusive to religion, and it's not exclusive
We are
to the
talking
Catholic
about your religion and
We're talking about your
that you're
religion.
saying is
Of course,
is
yeah,
good.
but I'm just saying this is
and
not
has
simply
good
something that
people in
occurs in
it.
religion.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not this is a people issue, right?
No,
This is,
but it's protected by the church. We do not protect abusers. The Catholic Church protects abusers. What they will do is they will just get rid of whoever is in trouble, and they will go and put them in another church, in another parish.
yeah, but you said
and
it
hide
yourself,
it.
right? Atheism isn't an organization.
Correct.
Exactly.
Yes.
So when people
And
when people do
we as
protect,
people do not protect abusers.
can I finish?
We tend to call that shit out because we don't think it's okay.
Well, actually, I could actually prove you do protect abusers, individual atheists.
Go ahead.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
this is gonna be
individual
very
atheists, but we don't do it as
Yeah,
a group.
you're not an organization, are you? I can't call you out as an organization.
Right.
if
And
you're
so
not
we
So
one.
then
called
it-
out the
so then
Catholic
it-
Church as an organization. We just gave you
that's
evidence.
So then you're
So-
trying to use a false
Yeah.
equivalence.
Yeah, it's a false
Well,
equivalency.
I'm not using a false equivalency here because you're saying, hey, we're calling you guys out because you're an organization. This is exclusive to organizations. And no, it's just simply
Never
not
said
the
that.
case. It
That's
means-
a straw man.
Okay, so wait, you admit it's everywhere. Thank you.
Yeah, we did. And
Okay,
but what
that's a
I'm saying
concession.
then is that the billions that you claim that, and I could go the same way with that. Everybody has donated money, so it makes no difference. That doesn't demonstrate that your God is real, right?
Who's
Because
donated
then
the
if-
most?
Because then if that's the case, so now you're invoking another fallacy. So because the Catholic Church has donated the most, that
What
proves
argument
God's
is
real.
being made?
Well,
No,
what
we're
is
gonna
the-
get into
okay.
we're gonna get into my argument
Well,
about what God is made.
you said
I just-
that the church has
Go ahead.
donated all this money. So what I'm asking you, how does that
Yeah,
demonstrate
because
that God
you-
is
you
real?
said- yeah, because you were trying to say, hey, religion is evil, religion is bad. Before I came on the panel,
Yeah,
so-
religion is bad.
Okay, well, I'm giving
It's
an
caused
argument
far
that it
more
isn't.
damage than good, and we can demonstrate that easily. So
That's
but what I
exactly
want to
what
get
we're
to.
discussing,
Okay, so then
right? We're not discussing
demonst-
whether God is real or not right now. We can get into that though, if we're tracking the conflict.
yeah, we are, and but that's not really what you were here for, right? You weren't here for
Yeah.
that.
So when
were
you
here
say
to
none
give your
of this
evidence that God is
demonstrates
real.
God's, yeah. So when you say none of this demonstrates God's existence, that's just going to be a straw man because that's
said-
what I was trying to do.
That's not what I said. What did I
Although
say?
I can't do that. I'm capable.
Hold on.
of it.
What did I say, Catholic Orthodoxy? Let's not put words in my mouth. I didn't say.
No, you said that
That.
word for word.
No, I did not. I said
I
none of this
promise you.
demonstrates
You said
that
it
God
word
is
for word.
real. I did not say God's existence. I said God is real. There's a difference between
Yeah,
being real
that's a straw
and
man
existing.
because that's not the conclusion.
That's
right?
not what
I'm
I s-
demonstrating.
I
Religion
can't be,
is
you
isn't
can't
bad.
you can't say it's a straw man when I correct your words. That's not what a straw man is. So what is a straw man?
What do you mean? A straw man is when you simply are going to be attacking some other view than what the person is trying to propose. That's going to be a straw man.
No,
I
that's
was
not what a
in
straw
my-
man
the
is.
conclusion.
It's not what it
By
is.
definition, that's
No.
I'm pulling it up on my computer. By definition, that's what it is.
Okay. It's an intentionally misrepresented proposition. I made no misrepresented proposition. I corrected you. I corrected your words. So correcting
Well, I
your
wasn't
words is
trying
not
to prove
is not a
God-
straw man.
How are you correcting my words when
Because
the
I
whole
said
conclusion
because you
was the
said
Catholic Church
you
is
s-
not
okay. So
bad?
you said did you not? Did you or did you not say that I said that none of this proves God's existence? Did you or did you say that or did you
Yeah,
not
yeah,
say
I
that?
stand by that. I 100% stand
And I
by
just told you I did not say that word existence. I said God is real. That's correcting your words. That's not a straw man that I just said.
that. Okay, so
Right.
how is that less of a straw man? Can you explain the
It
relevancy
is not
of
a straw
that?
man at all. It's a category error. Correcting your words is not a straw man.
Okay,
I'm
Was-
not
was the-
intentionally
was my
misrepresenting a position. I'm correcting your words. That's not a misrepresentation. That is correcting a misrepresentation.
Okay.
See how that works?
By the way, I'm pulling up the settlement thing, and all. How is that going to be related to all? If my conclusion wasn't that God is real,
You're the one that said I needed evidence for that, and I gave you the evidence. So it has nothing to do with the conclusion.
evidence for what?
You
Evidence for what?
said, what is your evidence that the Catholic Church has paid billions in settlements? I pulled it up
Okay,
and I
that's
showed you.
I get that, but you're not even engaging with what I just said, which is how does that relevant to my conclusion? 'Cause
It's
my
not relevant to
conclusion-
your conclusion at all.
Oh,
It was,
okay, that's why I said
it was
straw
you.
man.
No. You said, okay,
Okay,
this
you
is,
just said
okay,
it.
you are an intellectually
admitted it.
dishonest person. You said, did you not say, what is your evidence that the Catholic Church spent billions in settlements? Did you not ask that?
Did I ask that?
Did you ask that? Yes or no?
Of course I asked that. Yeah,
Okay,
that's what
so
we were
then
discussing.
that was what that was. I gave you the
Okay, so
evidence.
when you say-
so what the fuck
when you
are you
say-
saying that I'm misrepresenting your position? What the fuck are you saying that I'm doing a straw man? I answered your question. So
When you say
let's
none of
not
this demonstrates,
let's not come at me with this bullshit.
when you say none of
right?
this demonstrates God is real, right? What is
Nobody
the
said that.
relevancy to
Nobody
God?
said that.
He literally
was
just admitted he
No,
said that
Catholic
a
I
stuff.
did not
second
say
ago.
that's not
Catholic
what I
stuff.
said. Okay,
What you just said
there
is-
is okay. You have a
Didn't you just
revision.
correct me when I-
You have a revisionist history problem, much like what the Catholic Church does. So I see where you get this. That's not what I said. That's not what I said at all. What I said was you saying, "Hey, the Catholic Church has donated all this money," and I said that in no way demonstrates God is real. That's what I said. All right. So can we move on? Because we've wasted 10 minutes here. Can we move on to your evidence that God is real?
Of course, yeah.
Thank you.
I know, like, I'm pulling up my argument.
All right. So if it's a Philbro argument, I'm going to move the timer down to 5 minutes.
Okay, cool.
It's definitely going to be.
It's going to be a Philbro argument. Yeah, I'm almost sure of it. You can just read what ChatGPT has to say.
Okay, so you don't do philosophy?
No, I do philosophy. It's just that it's boring and these are stupid arguments. So I can set aside 5 minutes for it. So is that what it is? It's a philosophical argument? Because I'll just set the timer to 5 minutes. All right.
Well, yeah,
it.
but
Let me set it to. I mean, you're wasting time, bro.
Let's try giving this. My argument's pretty simple. Let's see if you're going to be honest here, right? If the greatest amount of people that does exist, then God is real.
If the greatest amount of people that exist, then God is real.
Yes, because this is going to be expected highly under the theistic hypothesis, whereas it's going to be highly not expected under atheistic hypothesis.
Okay, it has nothing to do with atheism. We're asking if God is real. So,
yeah, raising the. Do you know what an amplitive argument is?
Yes, I know what an amplitive argument is, and I know you just learned that today.
Them, right?
So
you don't like.
I'm going by your first premise. If the greatest amount of people exist, then God exists. So I reject that. So what's your evidence of that?
Why do you reject that?
Because
just say I reject it.
Because it's a non sequitur. So what's your evidence that the greatest amount of people exists, then therefore God exists? It's a non sequitur.
Yeah, so I could.
So what's your evidence that because the great amount of people exist, then God exists? Yeah, I'm asking you for evidence that how that demonstrates that God exists.
Yeah, that's not a rejection. That's an inquiry as to what's going to be the supplementary argument.
I reject it. And what is your evidence?
I reject it on its. I reject that.
I reject it on its face. What is your evidence that it's true?
Yeah, I mean, I could also provide this as well, right? Your self-existence is going to give you credible evidence until provided a defeater that the greatest amount of people does exist. This is called the self-indication assumption.
Okay, you're talking about the greatest amount of people exists. Okay, that's fine. I'm asking you how that demonstrates that God is real.
Okay, so you do accept that. Now you just want me to go from accepting that fact as to how this is going to be expected under the theistic hypothesis.
If the greatest amount of people exist, then God exists. So the greatest amount of people exist. That would be your second. That would be your second premise, right? The greatest amount of people exist.
No, that's the first premise.
Okay, well.
And then I'm giving you an argument for the first premise.
Okay, so what is your evidence that God exists because the greatest amount of people exist?
I know. Okay, so basically, I mean, your existence, now we're going to be getting into the self-indication assumption. Right, and this is going to be the supplementary argument for premise one, which is your existence gives you highly credible evidence, right, that the greatest amount of people do exist. And that being said, as an observer, because there's going to be more roles in which it could have occurred than not occurred, right? And to put this simply, to give you an example of this, so you could at least grasp the concept of it within like this, right? If like you're walking down the street, you see a coin. This is an example, right? You see a coin, you can assume the coin has been flipped, Now you want to know how many times that coin has been flipped. If you guess one time, right, and you see the coin is on tails, it only had one chance to land on tails. Now, if you assume 2 times, right, now you can say, hey, this coin landing on tails, there's double the chance it could have landed on tails, and so on ad infinitum.
Okay.
What is that? You got like some background noise.
Oh, sorry. Are you done? I was just going through TikTok. Are you
Okay,
done?
do you know what okay, can you reiterate the self-indication assumption?
So I'm still waiting for the I'm still waiting
provided
for the
it.
evidence
Hello?
that
Hello, you
demonstrates
were on
that
TikTok.
because people God
You were on
because God,
TikTok.
people exist, God exists. Yeah, that's what I'm.
You should have paid attention. I was giving it. You were
Yeah,
on TikTok.
I didn't hear any of that.
You spoke for
Yeah,
like
because you
three
weren't
and a
paying
half
attention,
minutes
so-
of your
Yeah.
5 minutes.
Yeah.
So you just don't want to deal with the argument. Like, it's kind of weird.
No, I'm waiting for the
Bilbros are
evidence.
exhausting.
Kinda
So
weird.
what you can do is you can say the evidence is, and then
Alright, bro.
therefore
No, this
that
is,
demonstrates
like, I
that
mean,
God exists.
You're
So
wasting my time, bro.
You didn't
Like, you're weird
fill
and
in,
you're kinda
bro.
dumb,
You've been
so I'm
wasting
just gonna
everybody's
leave.
time since you got up here. So, and he ran. Yeah.
Lol.
So, yeah. Yeah, I didn't like as soon as he went into this all these words that he was reading off ChatGPT, I was like, yeah, I'm done. That was-
Literally pointless.
yeah, that was pointless. That was like literally 15 minutes of my life gone.
Yep. Dr. Joe would like to come up and add to the sexual
Oh, yeah.
violence conversation.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Bring her up. I can't see her on the list. So if any mods have, there we go.
I just accepted her, yeah.
Hey, Dr. Joe, how are you?
Hey, Trust. I'm well. How are you?
I'm well as well. It's good to see you.
I wanted to add to your I like the shift that you're making in language, and I wanted to add to that included in sexual violence and also misogyny is when we use animalistic or female centered words to put down others. So when I don't know what we
Yeah.
can say here, but when we use, for example, one of the words to describe a cat to talk about a feminine male,
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
that's also sexual violence. When we
Yes.
use a female dog to describe, to name call anybody, and I realize
Yes.
that we've kind of taken back that word, and I get that.
Yeah.
And also the C word is another one that
Yeah.
I realize we've reused that also, but it is often used in a sexually violent way.
Yeah, and just to be clear, like when I see women using that, it's kind of the same thing with the N-word, right? When people of color have taken back the use of the N-word or, any other pejorative
Right. Or
slurs.
queer. Right.
Yeah, queer.
Yeah,
It's a take
exactly.
back. Yeah, exactly. Take backs I got no problem with, but that does not give me license to say, oh, okay, well, I heard her say that, so I can say it too. Like, for example, Girls Gone Godless, at least one of them who I see is here. They use the C word a lot, right? And they have said, I am an honorary Girls Gone Godless, but I would not dare use the C word. I'm not that honorary, right? So and you know what? If women use, and you know what? I'm not going to even say like if other people use it like out in public, it's not really my business, but in my channel, in my live, yeah, if the wrong group of people are using it, then it will be called out and we'll say that's a boundary. That's a hard line. Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. Yeah, I just wanted to add to your wonderful
Thank you.
semantic range that you're using for that phrase.
Thank you. Yeah. And I got to thank Philly Red for helping me with that because I used, because look, growing up in Black culture, the B word is something that is used very liberally, very, a lot. And it, like the acronym SYBAU, right? So if anyone knows what that acronym is, that B word is right there in the middle. And so after understanding that, and then well, I had to put money in my patriarchy jar because of that. But you know, so I just changed to shut your broke ass up because I think it's okay to use, you know, broke instead of the B word. But yeah, absolutely. So I'm trying to remove that all out of my system, out of my lexicon. Absolutely.
All right, thank you. I'll drop
got
back
it.
down and go back to the comments with my snarky self. And
Awesome. We love
have
it.
a great Wednesday.
The snarkier,
Thanks,
the better.
Dr. Joe.
Thanks, Dr. Joe. So poor people don't deserve respect. Yeah.
I will say it can come across as classist to talk about broke ass.
That's true.
But
It could also
that's
mean
another
like morally
conversation.
broken, like a person who's just broken could mean morally
True.
broken. Yeah.
True.
So it doesn't necessarily mean economically. Yeah. Or classist. Yeah. It doesn't mean economic. It's like, because like, you know, like, yeah, they could say like, look at your broke ass. And that's usually like something like there's some type of deficiency there. But yeah, you could stretch that into, well, it meant that you had no money, and that then looks down upon you because you have no money. So yeah, I have to look at that too. Yeah. So might just not have to use any of those terms at all.
It's hard.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of which, I think one of the godless.
Aaliyah.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing well. I think you have
You
something
can-
to say.
I always have something to say. You can
Absolutely.
use just instead of broke or the other B word that you don't want to use, just say it's for body. Shut your body ass up.
There we go.
Because everyone's got a body.
Yeah. Shut your body ass up. Look.
Look, listen.
Now-
Schley said binoculars. You could say shut your binocular ass up.
There we
But not
go.
everyone has
Shut your
binoculars.
butt ass up.
Is that classist?
Bucket
I don't
ass.
know.
How about that? Bucket ass. How about
Bucket.
that? There we go.
Yeah, and then
I could put
and then
bucket.
Oppo said bumpkin. That's
Bumpkin?
what he
I
is.
like that.
That's what bumpkin.
Boring? Oh, boring is a good one.
Yeah. So I think don't take SYBAU out of your vocabulary completely.
Yeah.
Just we're just gonna get creative. But bucket is good.
Bucket is
Bucket's
good.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, this is like the Shroud of Turin, right? So we can
Where
we
I'm
can-
an expert. Yeah.
Where you are an absolute expert, a renowned
Yeah, when it
expert,
comes
I would
to-
even gather.
When it comes to
Yeah.
fabrics that start with S from locations that start with T.
Yes. Yes.
Yep.
I'm if you ever see that topic on Jeopardy, like immediately apply to get on the show.
Yeah.
Because you would
I will.
you would
I crush it. It's over.
crush it. Absolutely crush it. Yes.
I have a peer reviewed study coming out about
That's
that. Very serious.
Fantastic. That is
It's
amazing.
very serious.
That is
Yeah.
amazing. I
Spoiler
can't wait
alert,
to read
it's
it.
not real.
Busted.
None of it is.
Yeah, Busted's a good one too, Moniker. Yeah, Busted. That's good too.
Good.
Because that refers to people who've been arrested, right?
Ooh, they've been caught.
They've been caught. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah. That's right. So hi Trudy Ann, how you doing? Trudy Ann might have requested up by accident.
Hello,
Oh.
hello. Can you hear
wait,
me?
there you are. Yeah, we can hear you.
Hello,
You were just
how are
muted
you,
up.
Trust. Yes,
I'm doing
thank
well.
you. That's good. Thank you so much for having me here.
Yeah, you got it. Hey, can I just check what pronouns you like to use, and are you at least 18?
Yes, I'm at least I'm 28 and
Okay.
yeah, she hers.
Fantastic. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, well, thanks for
Thank you
coming
so
up. Thanks for
much.
waiting. And do you which God do you believe in? The God of the Bible, the Torah, or the Quran?
Well, for me, I'm in a questioning phase. I feel like I'm more
We
like
love that.
agnostic.
We love
I
that.
feel like I'm more like agnostic right now. Like
Okay.
I just don't believe. I don't know if I believe in Christianity anymore.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why I wanted to call in was because I'm struggling a bit with grief and like agnosticism. I recently lost my dad a couple months ago, unexpectedly from cancer, and
I'm so sorry.
yes, no, thank you so much. And I just wanted to know, like, how do you, I guess, like, cope or deal with it, you know?
Yeah.
I especially like, because I mean, I could just give a little background. My dad wasn't religious, so he was, I
Mm-hmm.
would say, if he put a name to it, he would have been atheist. And so, but I was a Christian, but I was like deconstructing for like a couple years, and I was Protestant, then became Catholic, then sort of like was just like, I just don't even know if I believe there's like a true church, or like if
Yeah.
Jesus even claimed to be God, or,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like all those other things. So coming from like a Christian worldview where there's like this hope for like a resurrection and like an afterlife, and then moving from that to nothing, like
Got it, Pseudo.
I, I just wanted to know, how do you cope with that?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I just want you to know that, yeah, I'm very sorry for your loss. Number one, I lost my father when I was 17, and I was I was a full on believer, you know,
Yeah.
both feet in, stand 10 toes, chest out believer, a Catholic. And that, yeah, so I totally understand what that's like. Also, my wife next month will be fully in remission for 1 year from breast cancer. So so I've kind of gone through the trials of this. So I understand, you know, on many levels what you're talking about. And I can tell you that when I was a believer, I didn't cope with it very well when my dad passed. You know, it led to many years of just a lot of just problems and pain and things like that. Now, as a non-believer, you know, going through as a support person of a person with cancer, that was an entirely different experience. And how I was able to manage that was, first of all, you know, knowing that just focusing on getting her the best care, you know, that we possibly could. You know, that was mainly her endeavor, but what I sought to do was just support her in the best way possible, you know, through that. And, you know, there wasn't any reliance on a God or anything like that. It was all about the care. And, you know, and I thought about a lot, I'm going to be honest. I thought a lot about what would happen if she had passed, you know, if she passed, how would I take that? How would I process that? And what I took away from that was, you know, because of all the tests that she got done and all this other stuff, it was just a bad luck thing that happened to her. It was, you know, like it was just against the odds. You know, she didn't have like any type of, you know, genetic disposition towards it. She didn't have, it wasn't in her diet, anything she ate. It wasn't anything like that, you know. It was something that happened, and that's something that happens to us. And what I took from that was, when I sat and thought about it, what I took from it was, yeah, this is what our life is. And if there was a God, you know, why would God have this type of disease here? Especially when scientifically all we can see is that it is a result of genetic mutations, because our cells make copies over and over and over again. And eventually when you make copies that many times, something goes wrong. And that's what this was. It was, you know, the cells in her body were making copies upon copies upon copies. And then it just got to a point where there was cells that they made the wrong copies, and then they started multiplying, you know? And so when I like took that in, my next thing was that life is so precious because we only get one. And if we only get one, what it helped me see was that, because I took some time off from TikTok to kind of support her and all that. And what I found was that what I came to realize is that if we have one life, that means we have to make the best of it. Like, because we only get one chance here, right? So I need to be the best dad I can be. I need to be the best friend I can be, the best husband, the best brother, all of that, you know, to the best of my ability. And because there is no afterlife, you know, as far as I can tell, there's no afterlife. That means that, you know, I got probably about 30 years here if I'm lucky, and I got to make the most of those 30 years. And so what I resolved to do was, if she did go, then I would, you know, do my best to honor her memory and be thankful for the time she was with me, and just be like, okay, that was a gift, you know, for me, to me, that, you know, that was bestowed upon me. I was going to see it as a gift. And then that, you know, and that's what my life is that it's something that's very, very precious and valuable, because I only get one. So yeah, and everybody else gets one. So I need to not take that for granted. Yeah.
Yes, no, thank you so much, Trust. And I'm so happy that your wife is in remission.
Thank you.
And thank you for sharing that and being vulnerable.
Yeah.
I think for me, then, like, I guess another thing that I struggle with is sort of, you know, like, even though, like, I guess theoretically I kind of know that I don't believe in an afterlife, but then there's like this fear of like, what if there is, and like
What if you're
hell?
wrong? Yeah.
Yes, and I wanted to know, how did you sort of process and went through that?
Yeah. That was a big one that kept me in the belief for a long, long time. And because I kept thinking to myself, well, what if I'm wrong? And then I realized something. What I realized is that's not enough of a reason to believe in a God, is the fear of being punished, because I call that faith insurance. I'm going to believe in this God anyway, just so I don't get punished. But see, the thing is I don't really believe in that God, because I'm only believing in that God because I don't want to get punished. Right? I'm only holding open that. Yeah. And so it was more about the fear than it was the belief. And that did not add any evidence to the belief as being true. So if we take like evidence as the probability, or something that increases the probability of something being true, a fear of eternal punishment does not increase the probability that God is real. It only is fear. Yeah.
Right.
And so I had to admit that I was afraid, number one, which it sounds like you've done. So that's good. And then I had to then really ask myself, well, then what would be enough evidence for me to believe that there is an afterlife? And then I went and sought that evidence, and I couldn't find any. And then many, many years. And that's what told me finally, okay, if there's no evidence, then there's no reason to believe it.
Right.
You know?
I guess, like, how would you, because I know in the Catholic Church as well, I'm sure you're familiar, there are like apparitions of Mary, apparitions of the saints and Jesus. So I have a lot of Catholic friends who would say, well, see, look at that. That's proof for like Our Lady of Fatima in Portugal, I think, you know, or Our Lady of Lourdes in France. So what would your rebuttal be to those sort of experiences, or like near-death experiences in general, where people say that they've come back? Like, what would be your response?
Okay. So as far as like the apparitions, we can't demonstrate that those are real. So we don't have any evidence that those have actually happened. And if apparitions were actually true and actually real, it doesn't move Protestants. Right? It doesn't move Protestants to become Catholics. It doesn't move Buddhists to become Catholics. It doesn't, like in waves. It may be a few here and there, spattering, right? But it's not like a widespread like movement towards, okay, now everyone's Catholic. It doesn't do that. So what it seems to be, and the other thing is that they can't distinguish between it being an apparition, and an apparition is basically like a ghost, it's just seeing things. Like you can't distinguish between it being real and actually thing that actually happened versus it just as a delusion, like something that people just saw. And so we don't have any evidence that this is true. What they'll say is, well, so many people saw it. But see, we have other events like that in history where a lot of people saw something at the same time in masses, and it was a mass delusion. We've had instances like that. So that doesn't really demonstrate anything, right? Yeah. And if that's the only thing you have, and you can, because then there's other things where people have seen en masse and they were able to gather other evidence of it existing and then it being true. So we can't verify it other than, oh, well, 10,000 people saw it. Well, that doesn't really mean anything. Like, for example, here's an example. Rav, you might be familiar with this. I get this argument a lot. Tell me if you know this argument, Rav. That the demonstration that God is real is because 60,000 Israelites saw God. Have you heard of that argument?
I wouldn't use it, but I suppose I understand it. But the irony is that everybody heard it slightly differently. That's how the Jewish tradition says it. So like everybody heard the revelation slightly differently. In other words, everybody had a subjective experience with it. So
yeah, and that's the thing. You can't distinguish if it was a subjective experience versus it being like it actually happened. And that's the same thing, like with the apparitions, because then if you start talking to people, like their understanding of what happened is a little bit different. So you don't know. And then it's the same thing with NDEs. Lots of evidence in with NDEs that NDEs aren't real. Not saying it's definitive, but what I'm saying is that there's more that points to them not being real than they are real. And like one example is that people with NDEs tend to have NDEs that line up with their beliefs, like strongly line up with their beliefs. So Catholics have Catholic NDEs, Muslims have Muslim NDEs, etc. Buddhists have Buddhist NDEs. The other part is that they've done like lots of research on this for many, many years. There was like a long project that just wound up not too long ago, and it was inconclusive. Like they could not find any evidence that NDEs were real. There was a study that was done just last year, that was published last year, that indicated that there was a strong correlation of NDEs to high levels of carbon dioxide in the body. And like it was a very strong correlation. And then the other thing that they found was that they were able to pinpoint in the brain where the NDEs come from. And if there was any trauma in that area of the brain, no NDE. So they can't attribute it to something other than in the brain. And yeah. And not, like I said, it's not a done deal as to, oh, that means no NDEs. No, I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is if their job was to demonstrate that NDEs point to an afterlife, it didn't happen. So it's just inconclusive. There's just no evidence.
Okay. No, thank you. Do you know the name of this study?
I don't. This one that was last March, I think it's in my Discord, which my Discord members were saying, invite her to the Discord. So I think it's in my Discord, and it's in the science channel in the Discord. So if you look at my profile, I have a link tree and there's an invite there to join my Discord. So I encourage you to join it. And then you can see that. Yeah. Cause it's posted there. I'm pretty sure I posted it there, but if not, yell at me in the Discord and I'll post it. I'll go find it, but I'm pretty sure it's there.
Okay, that's no problem. No, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. And
Really quick, can I hop in? Yeah,
Absolutely.
I just wanted to touch back on the concept of an afterlife and not having a religious belief and being worried that there is no afterlife or if you were wrong, I guess. My thought on that is if I live my life in a way that I can look back and say like, oh, I did good things. I helped people. I was kind. I
Right.
did what I could do for personal growth for myself. I did what I could do to help other people. My thought is that if there is a higher power and there is a creator of the universe, regardless of if I believed in this God or not, as written in the Bible, I would think that that person, if they are, who they say they are, that person that entity, that God would let you into heaven or whatever it is. You know what I mean? So like,
Mhm.
if I wouldn't say that it's really like Pascal's wager where like, I'm not choosing to believe in anything because of the fear of punishment. But if I am having a moment where I feel like I, need comfort in what happens after we are not alive anymore, then I guess I think of that, but I don't necessarily believe in an afterlife. I just think it's just like what happens before you were born. It's just,
Right,
it's just
right.
nothing. But in the chance that there is, if I was a good and moral person, I would be a good candidate to be let in if there is a place. So
Right.
just live your life in a way that you can look back and be proud of, or that your father would look back and be proud of, or whoever it is that's important to you, that you're living your life in a way that honors, honors what they would want for you.
Yes. No, thank you so much, Aaliyah. Thank you.
You're welcome. Trust, you're muted.
Thank you. So if I could add one tiny thing to the Pascal's wager thing, is you brought up a great point, Aaliyah. And what I'd say, Trudy, is that it's not a coin flip. It's not 50-50. It's either 50 that God is real or 50 that God isn't real. It is all the beliefs that encompass what or who God is, right? So is it the Muslim God? Is it the, is it Buddhism? Is it the Hindu gods? Is it the Norse pagan gods? And that amounts to, thousands of beliefs, tens of thousands of beliefs, thousands of religions. So really it's like a 1 in 10,000 shot, whether or not the God that you believe in is real and, versus some other God. Because look, if it's the Muslim God, all the Christians are screwed. Just hands down,
Well, even that doesn't describe the plausibility aspect of of that particular theology being true.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, thank
By the way,
you
somebody
all.
messaged me and said that I was getting cooked while I was gone, and I apologize.
You just got so cooked around by being gone. But Trudy, thanks for coming up and do that. But come back and, if you have any other questions.
Yes,
We're
thank
here
you
for
all
you.
so much. Thank you.
You got it. All right. Take care, Trudy. Have a good day.
Bye.
Your conversation made me think of something that I hadn't thought of in a while just now, but it wasn't meant to be something that it wasn't her comments, but that most people's theology tends to be at like a pediatric level, like, God as parent is like a very pediatric type of theology. And some people arrive at a theology that's maybe more adolescent, like God as energy or something like that. Where it's a little more abstract. But I think ultimately, for me, and you can ask me about my own theology, but the idea that God is a series of metaphor to describe a singular experience or sort of an observation. In other words, God should be descriptive as opposed to prescriptive. And I think that most of the time, like, in other words, your God can't superimpose itself on the describable real world.
Khalil, I hear that. And, and I actually kind of bought into that understanding of God, during my, like earlier in my 12-step recovery, because they talk a lot about the God of your understanding, right? And and then that's when I came up with the term Build-A-Bear God, because that's kind of what I did. I had this Build-A-Bear God for a while, and and I toyed with that, but then it was really, I was just like on this agnostic thing, and I just wasn't really sure, right? And then it just hit me that it's like, okay, well, if that's the case, it just didn't. I just kept going back to the evidence, right? However, I would not dismiss like that description of who God is to you. You know what I mean? I would not wholly and solely dismiss that. Yeah. It's not, to me, it's not worth the fight, because that is so much better than this all-knowing, all-loving God that loves you, but then is going to like threaten to torture you but knows everything that you do, but then won't reveal himself because of this, because of that. I mean, it's just the gymnastics you have to go through to justify that God. It just sounds exhausting. Like if like your version is cool.
Who has the time?
Yeah, who has the time? Yeah. Your version, I'm okay, that's cool, because you're just like, hey man, it's this metaphor, and it's descriptive. All right, I'm cool with that.
I'll also just to like sort of give you the rest of my theology is the idea that God is actually change, that all change that exists is like anything that is in the idea. It's called process theology, but the idea that God is change and God is the processes that are unfolding and everything, good, bad, everything. Everything is in process, everything is changing. So it's a sort of a unifying observation.
Yeah. And so now then I would kind of push back a tiny bit and just say, how do you know that's
Please.
true? Yeah.
How do I know that everything is changing?
No, that God is change. Because
that's great.
Because then it sounds like it's just like instead of the word, a word for change or what that process is, you just inserted God, and that's that would just be my question.
Great. So what I would say is, it's not like the idea of the experience that I have in being in awe, in fear, in gratitude. And by the way, all of those emotions are also an emergent change process that comes out of human biology, right? So like it is the observation of all of these changes that cause me to be in awe of it. And so we don't have to call it God. I'm not like
okay.
It's a unifying awe that I have for change.
Okay. And that to me sounds a lot closer to the like the perspective of like the higher power that's like found in 12 step or in other places, right? It's like it's more of like an understanding, right? And that these things that have a higher power to them put people in awe or just in some type of amazement or something like that. And
sure.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
And then I'd have to ask myself, like, what's my role in the change of the system? Like, what is my role within this thing that is constantly changing? How do I see myself? How do I understand myself? How do I change? And that is where the issue of ethics begins to come in.
I hear that. And see, I gotta say though, Rav, I'm not gonna lie. This is a lot easier to swallow than like a lot of the stuff we hear, on this live every day. Yeah, it's a lot more palatable.
The irony is, like, I'm not asking you to believe it. I don't.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? I'm not asking you.
You're not trying to defend it. Exactly. And that's fine.
Yeah.
And that's fine. Yeah. And I'm good with that. I think that's the thing is that, because, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Folks like you aren't coming to my door, right? And they're not approaching my daughter at school and then imposing this belief. That's the difference. And that's where that's where it oversteps. And that's where, like you said, ethics, I think that crosses an ethical line. I'll stand 10 toes on that. When we impose a belief like that, like if I just said, hey, I believe that, leprechauns are real, and I start imposing that on everybody, and, and I start like discriminating against people because I don't believe in leprechauns, or leprechauns are telling me that, oh yeah, that guy is a bad person, then that becomes a problem, especially if you can't demonstrate it. But if you're carrying a belief like that and it's just your belief and that's all that it is, cool. I'm good with that.
Have you ever heard of LifeWise Academy by any chance?
Mm-mm.
They are a new organization that is inspired by, and I don't know, probably funded by organizations like Project 2025 and the Heritage Foundation and all this. They started in Ohio. And they are basically infiltrating schools using the guise of release time for religious instruction, and they are taking kids with parents, like they are like just strapped with legal representation, but they're taking kids out of school to do like white Christian nationalist Bible study once a week during lunch and recess. And you should look at their website to see like the way in which they're infiltrating the schools in your area, and you don't even know it yet.
Wow. What's it called again?
LifeWise Academy. It is absolutely terrifying, and they're everywhere. And they just did it silently, and they're just like cold calling churches to get kids to sign up. Kids get a hot meal once a week from them. It's like a total, and the curriculum is to be expected, horrific, and focuses on what they, think. Anyway,
yeah, that is horrific. And And just kind of as a side note, are you ethnically Jewish or?
Yeah, so I had my
Okay.
parents do the 23andMe thing, and I was like, please let us have like a little bit of Sephardic, a little bit of Mizrahi, something interesting, and it's 99.6 Ashkenazi. So,
Holy shit,
you know,
99.6.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
that seals it.
yeah.
Okay. And the only reason I asked is because that type of what you're talking about, this LifeWise Academy, I mean, I'm not gonna I mean, organizations like that, ethnic Jews don't have a good history with, all right? That's just all I'm gonna say.
The
Yeah,
only reason I'm hearing about them is because kids in my school are experiencing the anti-Semitism coming out of those programs when those kids get back. Like, your people killed Jesus, like, just like all this. And
that's how it
that's
all
the only reason
fucking
why I'm
starts.
hearing it,
Yeah.
because yeah, exactly. And so,
Yeah,
well,
and that is terrifying.
I think we're way past the start, but yes, yeah.
Yeah, that is terrifying. And and this is why I do this, is because it's so insidious. It's so like, under the radar, and that's just indoctrination. That's just what it is. It's no different than when the neo-Yazis were doing their thing, and they resorted to all sorts of different ways to get to infiltrate people into people's lives, and to recruit members and all this other stuff like that, not saying it at first, and then getting people to go to their rallies, and then finally unveiling it, and all that. Yeah, it's underhanded. So yeah, I'm with you on that. Yeah, that's exactly why I do stuff like this. But let's move on to the next guest, DTX. Looks like DTX is having trouble connecting. It's already here in Texas school system. Yeah, that's just absolutely terrifying. I'm big on the separation of church and state, and and so if they're going into public schools doing that, it's got to stop. All right, DTX, try leaving and coming back and look at your Wi-Fi settings or something. All right, we have next one, Dot. I think you asked me a question in chat, but I missed it because I was in the middle of conversation, but I'll give you an opportunity to ask it up here. How's it going?
Yo, what's good, bro? I'm
Pretty
just
good.
curious.
Just quick question. Yeah. What you got?
Yeah, just one quick question. As like a Christian, as a Christian, I feel like how like it is being like used as like a political tool, like with our leaders like Trump, and it's just like a disgusting way. Cause like I know that Jesus Christ, I believe that he is real. I respect the fact that you guys believe he is not real, and you guys have a right to believe that. But I feel like if Jesus Christ like really met somebody like Donald Trump, he would hate him so much, bro.
Probably.
And honestly, but I digress. I just want to ask like a quick question. If you had to be one religion, like would you be Christian or a Muslim, and why?
Oh, neither. If
Neither?
those were my only two choices.
Yeah.
Whoa, that was my only two choices. Then no, not Muslim. That's even worse than Christianity. That's horrible.
Fair.
It's horrible. I cannot get on board with a prophet, Muhammad, peace be unto him, marrying a 6-year-old, consummating with a 9-year-old, and then having to defend that. That means I would have to defend that, and I'm not going to defend that. But I got to be honest. There's a lot of troubling stuff in Christianity as well that I can't get on board with. So, but if that was my only two choices, that would probably be. I mean, I got to be honest with you. This is like you're making me choose the lesser of two evils, and Christianity being the lesser one by like a tiny sliver.
I feel like we all have our own sense of beliefs, and I honestly have like a lot of respect for you for having yours and stuff. And I simply have a blessed day, and
right.
Have a good one, sir. Bye.
All right, have a good one. I don't think he was 18, so, but I allowed the quick question. Yeah. And that's the thing is like any Muslim that comes into my life, I mean, that's where I'm going to take the conversation. I'm going to take it straight to Muhammad, peace be upon him.
You Yodi does a great bit with the people that are clearly under 18 that are
Oh
coming up
yeah.
to talk about Christianity, and says, okay, so do you think that lying is a sin? And they'll always say yes. And he says, okay, if you think lying is a sin, what age did you put on your TikTok profile? And what should you do to repent for your lie?
Mm, mm.
In other
That's a
words,
good one.
it's not against terms of services to have somebody who has lied about because they would have to have entered their age incorrectly into it, and so it would be on them, not on you, for having somebody.
True.
So in other words, asking for people's age is not actually part of TikTok's terms and services. That makes sense.
Yeah. I hear that. Yeah, that's true. But the other part of it is I don't want to talk to other people's kids.
For sure not.
Yeah.
For sure not.
I don't want to. I don't want to talk to them about this because then I would be a hypocrite because I don't want believers talking to my kid about their beliefs, right? So
absolutely.
Yeah, but I entertained the question because it was really fast and but yeah, I heard that. I was like, okay, yeah. So we got to move on. But okay, well, we got 152 people in here. So if you are a believer in the God of the Bible, the Torah, or the Quran, and you have evidence that God is real, we would like to hear it. We would love to have your requests up. And we are, we have here, we have Rav, who is a rabbi and speaks Hebrew. So we can dive into the Old Testament. We can dive into the Hebrew. We have Aaliyah, the goddess, who is a like the expert on the Shroud of Turin. And
Shroud of Turin, women's health.
Women's health.
The Book of Mormon.
Yeah, the Book of Mormon.
That's what I'm here for.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah, you're here for that. And then there's Ember, who is also a friend and has and they are a very smart person and they just have like a wide-ranging knowledge of shit, which is awesome. So I love having Ember up here. And also Ember's bullshit detector is like on fire. So and I kind of need that sometimes. So
laser focused.
Like it's easy to trip.
Do not mess with me.
Yeah, exactly. The moment any BS comes across, like even if you think it, I think Ember might even sense it. Like, don't even think about it. So,
don't do it.
No, but Ember is like all things, like lots of psychological, like and social knowledge about like sociological issues, psychological issues, definitely about LGBTQIA, about the LGBTQIA community, and how religion harms that community, so we got some good people up here. But
my app just glitched. Can I request right back? I just gotta close
absolutely.
out of it.
Yeah. Just drop down and come back. Yeah, you're welcome up. But yeah, this is what we do. We want to talk to people who have evidence that God is real. And the reason why is because the other part of it is, honestly, I mean, I ask these folks all the time, hey, if you had evidence, if you were presented with evidence that God is real, and it's, solid, solid sound evidence, would you believe it? All of us have said yes. Now, that's one step in the whole in the journey. It is one step, but that's the start. So yeah, we are, we're open to be convinced. We are. I mean, Rab is already convinced, but yes, and I agree with you, Courtney.
I'm amenable.
Atheist. Oops, sorry. I'm atheist to the Christian God. I do not understand what is going on in Christianity. It does not make any sense to me whatsoever, and it seems to be a complete contrast to the first half. So
yeah,
I really
and atheist probably to the Muslim God too. Which so we're We share that. And honestly, the Muslim God makes even less sense to me than the Christian God. And it might be more because I grew up in Christianity, you know, and I was around it a lot, but you know, reading through the Quran, I can't see anything but, okay, this just seems like it just seems like another like Build-A-Bear God. Like they just need one for themselves. And this one is a brutal one. It's even more brutal than the other ones. Like, you know, their description of hellfire and all that stuff, just making it clear. It's
Well, how about when you see the non-believer, you should strike their throat. That's a nice one.
Yeah, isn't that nice? Right? Yeah. But then on the other hand, Muhammad pulls the veil over a non-believer's eyes. So not only does Muhammad keep you a non-believer, but then tells his followers to go strike you in the throat.
And don't forget, he cut the moon in half.
And he cut the moon in half. Yeah. Right. And Muhammad, peace be upon him, you know, took a winged horse to heaven.
Justice for Aisha.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so I think it's either that. I'll either take it there for Muslims. I'll take it either to Muhammad, peace be upon him, and Aisha, or just shit in that Quran that just doesn't make sense. Like, you know, like stars being formed before the earth that we have no evidence for.
Or sperm coming from the spine.
Yeah, between the backbone and
That's
the ribs.
That's actually my favorite one.
Yeah. And then watch them just do somersaults over that. And then the fun part really begins.
It could.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Oh, but that is between the backbone and the ribs. Yeah, come on. Yeah, exactly. But then the even more fun part is when Ems gets the bat signal and then comes in, you know, because Ems is a medical doctor and straight up tells him, I'm a medical doctor. And it cannot be between. It is not between the backbone and the ribs. And them.
That's a pretty good impression, honestly.
I was just going to say, that's spot on.
It is not between the backbone and the ribs. And then them telling him, well, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, even though he's a medical doctor. Or them saying to him, you don't know Arabic. That's the part I live for. When they tell Ems that he is, as a medical doctor, he does not know the body, and as a native Arabic speaker, he does not know Arabic. It's like telling you, Rav, you don't know Hebrew. It's just laughable. And actually, you were in my live and somebody did that to you. Somebody said that to you. Yesterday. So it happens to you all the time too. Yeah. You know, I might do that, Grumpy. I don't know how long I can keep it up. If I do an M's voice the whole show, like kind of like how Lobes does cyber deconstruction.
Yeah.
Maybe I could try that.
Does he say the word goofy a lot? Because that's my favorite. When
yeah, he does.
That's just goofy. Yeah. Just goofy.
Exactly, he does. Oh man, it is. All right, guests, requests up. So this happened yesterday. Okay, Rav, here, I have a question for you. Because see, this is the thing. What I really love, actually, what I really love to do is watch Christians tie themselves up into pretzels, like trying to explain the Old Testament, right? Yeah. What would you say is like the most unhinged apologetic you've heard from a Christian about the Old Testament? And then we'll add Slim.
Most unhinged apologetic. Well, I mean, I think the way that they read Jesus into the text everywhere, like the assumption that Jesus is everywhere, that like every time Yud-He, Vav-He, or YHWH is there, they see it as Jesus, or that like, you know the difference between exegesis and eisegesis? That exegesis is when you read the text and extrapolate based on literally what the text says on the page. Yeah. And then eisegesis is when you read Jesus everywhere into the text. It's I see Jesus. You get it? You know what
I
I mean?
see Jesus.
I
Yeah,
see
exactly.
Jesus everywhere.
And they call it exegesis. Yeah, I'm just doing
Yeah,
exegesis, and Jesus is here.
I'd like
Oh
to
yeah,
exercise the Jesus.
yeah. I like to tell them that Jesus fulfilled one prophecy, and that was Deuteronomy 13, verses 1 through 10. That's the one he fulfilled. Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say 18 through 22.
Oh, 18 through
Which is
22?
Yeah,
Let me read
chapter
that.
18, verse 18 through 22.
Oh, we got to look that up. We got to see what that says. I don't remember what it is off the top of my head, but I want to read it now because that actually might be better than Deuteronomy 13. So then that would mean 2. So Deuteronomy 18 verses, and then verses 18 to 22.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's see what that says. Oh yeah, that's a good one too. Okay, so I stand corrected. See, Rav has corrected me. So yeah, that's a good one. Here, let's bring it up. Okay, can everybody see that? I will raise up for them a prophet like you from among their own people. I will put my words in the mouth of the prophet, who shall speak to them everything that I commanded. Anyone who does not heed the words of that prophet shall speak in my name. I myself will hold accountable. But any prophet who presumes to speak in my name a word that I've not commanded the prophet to speak, or who speaks in the name of the gods, that prophet shall die. Yeah, that's beautiful. You may say to yourself, how can we recognize a word that the Lord has not spoken? If a prophet speaks in the name of the Lord, but the thing does not take place or prove true, it is a word that the Lord has not spoken. The prophet has spoken it presumptuously. Do not be frightened by it. Yeah, I like that one. I almost like that one better.
Just sums up the whole Christian Bible. Nothing happened, but they said, yeah, the whole thing.
Okay, so there you have it, folks. Now I'm convinced that Jesus fulfilled 2 prophecies. Yeah, Deuteronomy 13 and Deuteronomy 18.
The irony is Muslims will come in and say, oh, Deuteronomy 18:18, that's Muhammad.
It's like the Spider-Man where everybody's pointing at each other and they're all Spider-Man. It's like, no, it was Jesus. No, it was Muhammad. No, it was...
Yes, it is. Pumpkin Baby, we're still waiting for you to come up. You've been chirping in my comments for I don't know how long. Like a week? Yeah.
It's not their fault. It's not their book.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly right. Like, that's the Hebrew Bible. It's not even your book. But see, the problem is they can't just sit on the New Testament. That's the problem. They have to go back to the Old Testament, and then that just puts them in a bind.
Have you heard Immanuel Kant's explanation of this, by the way?
Yes, but I've read it, but if you asked me to repeat it, I would butcher it.
No, yeah. Sorry, it wasn't. I just was. Yeah, just the idea of like the Hebrew Bible or the so-called Old Testament being the first floor of a house, like a ranch, basically, a first story of a house, and that the Christian Bible is built upon it. So there's a second story, and it's nice because stories are floors in a building, but they're also stories in books. So you have the first story, and then the second story is built upon the first, and then the Christian Bible has removed the first story and expected the second story to stand magically on its own.
Right, exactly. And look who's here, everybody. And you know what that means. And there it is. It's King Hammy of Hamelot.
It is I, King Hammy of Hamelot, and boys and girls of the realm, I am at a loss for what to read. Because you see, King Hammy has so many books, and he has the internet close at hand, that he doesn't know exactly what it is he wants to read, let alone what he should read. So today, boys and girls, because I hear a lot from Trust, and I hear a lot from a lot of male people. I want any woman at all to give me something to read.
Okay.
Yeah. So any woman, the first woman that suggests anything to read, it can be from any book that they're reading, any or anything that I can look up at least and find a passage from.
How about a woman and or a non-binary?
Or non-binary, that too.
Yeah.
I'm not discriminatory here whenever it comes to that, so it doesn't matter to me.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Do we have any suggestions?
I did see.
We'll bring you up
from
in a minute, Slim.
Read when God was a woman, but I don't. Is that something that was is that I can look up? I don't know
God
what
was a
that
woman.
is.
Maybe Google Books will have it. They'll have like an excerpt. Let's see. Books.google.com.
So are you asking for a female, like writing, or somebody that is a female to suggest a female writer, or some combination therein?
Some kind of combination there, and it doesn't really matter. It's something that it's
Freedom by Helen Hunt Jackson is my favorite. Freedom by Helen Hunt Jackson is my favorite poem of all time.
Okay, but we need a woman to ratify that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. Or if a non-binary has a suggestion, that would be awesome as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
H.P. Lovecraft. Okay. Well, from Courtney we have H.P. Lovecraft.
Okay, so I don't. Let's see.
Anything in particular?
H.P. Lovecraft is a man.
Oh, yeah. So we want. Okay, so I think what we want then, if I'm hearing what the winds are saying, we want an author who is either a woman or non-binary. I think that's what we're looking for.
If that's what we're looking for, then I'm glad to read of that as well.
Okay, so from 3 pips, a non-binary votes for Rav's choice. Okay.
Can we say a non-binary person?
Excuse me. Thank you. A non-binary person. God damn it. No.
Womp womp.
No. Are we back to 0? I think we are.
We'll take, you can have a mulligan.
Okay. All right. 1 mulligan. Okay. A non-binary person.
Yeah. Like person first language is always.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, I get it. Because if I had said, like, if somebody said to me, "See that black over there?" Yeah. I get it. Totally get it.
He says I packed all my books away.
Well,
yeah, I gave my books away.
Yeah.
Packing up your books doesn't help me because we may not have the same books.
And and that's the other thing about this live is like all the books I have are from like philosophers and shit like that, and it's very male centered, and so that tells me I need to get into I need to get some books from like women and people who are non-binary. Yeah.
Well, Rav, what was that one that you said? Freedom by who?
Freedom by Helen Hunt Jackson. Yeah.
Freedom by Helen Hunt Jackson. Okay.
And while Hammy is
really
looking that
take
up,
your time with the words. Yeah, it's really beautiful, and just let the word develop in your mouth. You know what I mean?
What were you saying,
and
Amber?
while Hammy is looking that up, there is a poet who unfortunately passed away, but they are non-binary and they're from Colorado. They were our poet laureate for the state, and their name is Andrea Gibson. They wrote some really amazing stuff. So I wish that I knew more of like specific poems, but they are someone to look up. They died last July.
Okay.
But they
Andrea
passed from
Gibson.
cancer. But they lived life to the fullest, and they wrote about love and
Okay.
life.
Awesome. Okay, so two things. EG62, my opinion on C.S. Lewis. Not a big fan. I don't think he's a particularly good writer. I'm just not a fan. I mean, I like the story of like the Chronicles of Narnia overall, but I don't think it was that well written. Like, if I put it
Tolkien they were friends, and
Yeah.
Tolkien did not like his writing. He thought
Yeah.
he was way too on the nose.
Yeah, and I think that like I like Tolkien's writing a lot better, like between the two. Now, that said, I have one of his books, one of his theology books, and it basically, it defends like suffering and all that stuff, and it's like that thick. I can't remember the name of it. I might go get it, but it's not very well written. It's, the apologia is just like meh. So I'm not a big fan of C.S. Lewis. Now, the next one is, somebody said we need a book recommendation list. There actually is in my Discord. We have a channel that recommends a bunch of books. I don't think we put stuff in there lately, but we need to start doing that.
Oh yeah,
So-
we can definitely do more of that.
So maybe you can put Andrea Gibson in there, Ember. You can throw.
Oh sure, yeah.
Yeah. I know people were doing it for a little while, and we kind of got away from it for the last couple months, but there's some pretty good recs in there. So you want to go check out my Discord. That's where you can find some good recs. And another place would be the Deconstruction Junction Discord. They have, I know, like Benny Boy, he put a whole list of like some books that he had. He's got a bunch in there too. So those are two places you can go. All right.
Alrighty, well, I have looked up the words to freedom, and it goes like this. What free man knoweth freedom? Never he whose father's father through long lives have reigned o'er kingdoms which mere heritage attained. Though from his youth to age he roam as free as winds, he dreams not freedom's ecstasy. But he whose birth was in a nation chained for centuries, there every breath was drained from beast of slaves, which knew not there could be such thing as freedom. He beholds
Breasts,
the light.
Hammy, breasts of
Yes.
slaves. Breasts of slaves is the
Breasts, I'm sorry. From breasts of slaves, which knew not there could be such thing as freedom. He beholds the light, burst dazzling, though the glory blind his sight. The glory blind his sight. He knows the joy. Fools laugh because he reels and wields confusedly his infant will. The wise man watching with a heart that feels says, cure for freedom's harms is freedom still.
Woo! Very nice. Thank you, Hammy. And that was King Hammy of Hamelot, everybody. Tuck and roll. Oh, Hammy, please read me bedtime stories. Hey, might be onto something there.
I want to.
Yeah.
Tuck and bedtime stories. Gotcha.
Yeah. And yeah, I'm live every day during the week. Almost every day. Sometimes, like if my day job calls or something like that, family stuff, but usually I'm on Monday through Friday. So you can't catch me today. Like, you can catch me just about every day. And Joni Anderson, all I can say is I'm blessed to believe in our Lord and Savior. And why are you blessed to believe in your Lord and Savior? Like, what gives you that blessing? How does belief give you a blessing? That's kind of, it's very interesting. And I don't see how just a belief alone makes somebody blessed. And in a lot of ways, that could be considered dangerous. Because if you're blessed just by believing without any evidence, that's kind of cultish, I would say. Saeed Muhammad Abdullah, who granted you consciousness? Nobody did. Being with a soul of your own. Don't believe there's a soul. So that is presupposing a lot there, Saeed. That someone granted consciousness. And, you know, if you kind of take it back that way, maybe you could say my parents did. You know, they made it possible.
Consciousness is an emergent property of our existence.
Yeah. And I'm not aware of anyone who has consciousness without a brain, without a functioning brain. You know, so those seem to strongly correlate, right? And systems of the body are the same. Okay. And what makes us so different? DNA. That's what makes us different. There's no real-time variable evidence of macroevolution, by the way. That's just not true. Evolution, macroevolution is just evolution. Macro, it's just evolution. And we have so much evidence of evolution, like ridiculous amount of evolution. But what makes you say we have no evidence of that? Macro and Jesus. Macro, knee and Jesus. Yeah. Yeah, it's just evolution. It's just evolution. No macro, micro. You know, I think Goatman, I think somebody wrote that like in a scientific article a long time ago. And it was just a descriptor for like, you know, different parts of evolution. But yeah, there really is no micro and macro.
Can I ask where he thinks, you know, like let's say you're looking at a rainbow and it goes from red to orange. Where does he think the red ends and the orange begins?
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And okay, so Saeed is an evolution denier? Interesting. Hey, Sonny, how you doing?
Hey, good. I had a question for you guys that I've been thinking a lot about, and I don't know if Bert would know, but I've been really curious. You know the verse about like selling your daughter and how, you know, the guy that buys her can make her his wife. I've been wondering, was that the most common way to acquire a wife then? Or like, what was the
The sick
normal way
part
to
is
acquire
that
a
this is
wife?
progressive. This is a progressive thing. Like that's the sick part about that. Like the worst part is not about the woman being property. The worst part, the worst part is not about the man buying her and taking her into her house and her having to be married to him. The worst part is that she is damaged property, that her value and her worth is based only on her ability to procreate as a virgin.
Yeah.
Yeah, so but is that like was that the normal way to get a wife? Was that the only way? Because I'm thinking that means literally every single woman was a slave then. There was no pre-Israelite woman.
Well, this wasn't this was as a result of her being her, I don't know what the right TikTok language is, but engaging in being forced to engage in intercourse without thing. In other words, there's a financial arrangement for most marriages called a dowry, and that in order for the marriage to go through, like the father loses out on the ability to obtain the dowry when she is taken by somebody who hasn't paid it yet. And so, do you understand what I'm saying? Like, so
Yeah,
like,
well, yeah, but I
is that what
wasn't
you're asking?
that. Yeah, no, that instance I know about. But there's the other verse that Trust uses all the time. It just says when a man sells his daughter into slavery, and then for the man that acquires her, if he takes her as his wife, like he something or other, and then something like if he decides to take another wife, like her status will not like be lowered or something. So like It's saying a man can sell his daughter to another man as a wife. Do you know what verse I'm talking about, Tress? We always use that
Yeah.
as an
It's Exodus
example.
21,
And
verse
it does say
7.
that the
Yeah.
guy, or he can give the girl to his son and make the son's wife. So I'm just curious, is that like, that was going on? Like, that's just how all the wives were acquired?
Up until about 100 years ago.
So every single woman was a slave then?
That's what I'm saying with the dowry and the bride price. Like
Yeah.
dowries were a thing up until, I mean, in this country, right? And like everywhere was like this.
Essentially, yeah.
Well,
Although,
yeah.
like, some would be like Rav, you can confirm or deny this, or confirm if this is true, but this is how a lot of concubines were sold into slavery, because concubine is that's just sexual slavery, right, Sonny? So the parents often would sell their daughter into slavery, and then that daughter would become a concubine, to royalty or to people of high status. They sometimes they would become, in some cases they would become like maid servants. That's another one that would happen, but most of the time this was a form of sexual violence. Exodus 21:7. So a daughter, a husband, a father selling his daughter into slavery, yeah, that was definitely sexual violence. And yeah, I think this is kind of interesting. You bring up a good point. So Rav, are you saying that the dowry for daughters, was this through Exodus 21 verse 7? Is that what you're talking about? That's what the dowry is, or?
No, what I'm saying, so
Okay.
like the way that Israelite marriage worked was they would have these home compounds, and the men would stay at home, and the women would be given to another family with dowry, and they would then expand their sort of little mini village thing, and the home would grow. They would add rooms to this giant home. And so when the woman would come to this new family home, her family would then be paid a bride price for her to come and be there and grow their family. And so I think the Deuteronomy 21:7 piece is dealing with a nefarious situation, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
Right.
and the other part of it, because like the distinction also, if I'm correct, is because it talks about in the previous verses, like 1-6, it talks about how a male slave can go out, right? Because it makes clear in verse 7, when a man sells his daughter as a slave, she shall not go out like the male slaves do. So to me, that indicates lifetime. This is a lifetime, slavery.
Yeah, that was my question, because then it says that he can make her his wife, but it's also still calling her a slave and she can't go out. So that's where my confusion came in. So she's a slave, but she could be made a wife of the man, or the man can give her to his son for him to make as a wife. And I'm going to drop down while you answer that, because my kids are about to be in the car any second now.
Okay.
So, thank you,
Sounds
though.
good, Sonny. All right. See ya.
My guess is I'd have to look at the Hebrew, but my guess is it says wife, literally says woman, and so the notion. Look, there's 3 different ways to be married in sort of the Israelite text. One is through this dowry. 2 is through one is through like a contract. 2 is through a dowry or monetary exchange. And I say this at my wedding ceremonies when I do them, but I say the first is the contract, the second is the money, which is the ring exchange, and the third, if you want to learn about the third way, ask your parents.
Right, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Copulation, right? So,
yeah, right. Now, okay, so then that means this. So then, not every woman. Well, I mean, women were sold into marriage because of the bride price. I mean, that's literally what that is. You're paying a price to acquire a bride, and that's what the dowry was, right?
You're paying a price to acquire. You're paying the price to acquire the opportunity to have more children. That's what
Okay.
you're paying for.
Okay,
The
that's what
service
you're paying for.
provided is the
Okay.
And it's interesting to note that the bride price alone changes depending on the culture and the time frame. Like,
Right.
since if somebody was poor and maybe outside of like the ancient Near East, like their bride price may be like, 3 goats and a mule or something like that. And so like that bride price changes between cultures and
Definitely.
and
Yeah. Yeah. So, oh yeah, that's Die Happy Johnny. You're welcome to request up, and you can give the rabbi a lesson. You can tell us what he's reading wrong. So you're more
By the
than happy to
way,
request
the
up.
other thing is, you know where the word husband comes from, Trust?
No.
It comes from husbandry, the care and care for animals.
Livestock. Holy shit. Animal husbandry. Holy shit. That is horrific.
Yeah.
That's awful. Okay. I don't want to be a husband anymore. I want to be a spouse. Unless you're going to tell me spouse is something bad too, because I don't want to be a husband. Yeah.
I haven't looked in the etymology of spouse yet.
Okay. Because that's terrible. I don't want to be a fucking husband. No.
you gotta. I mean, it's kind of written right there in like the whole entire like 10 Commandments, right?
Yeah.
When it says about like not coveting your neighbor's property and things, like wives is included in there along with livestock, slaves, and their house and things like that. So it's like these things are possessions. These things are things that anybody can get, anyone can buy, sell, all that stuff. It's a bit gross. Not even a bit. It's a lot of gross.
It's really gross. Yeah.
Just to be clear though, like the fact that we're talking about this is leaps and bounds from where humanity has been for hundreds of thousands of years.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like this is I think it's called like a telescopic advancement, meaning it's like leaps and bounds in terms of understanding of humanity.
Exactly. And see, this is why the argument of, oh, it was the times. Oh, I just said that. So mark your cards. It was the times. Really falls flat, because if you're talking about like a Mosaic law that, like in this sense, authorizes or actually condones fathers to sell their daughters into slavery, and then just wave it away was, well, that was the times. That completely falls flat, because, and we all know it does, but just the explanations you're giving, it actually makes it worse, because now that we're talking about this and saying that's leaps and bounds ahead of where we were, then that means that we have evolved. And then why didn't the text evolve along with it? And it didn't. I mean, just the fact that if this God is real, if this God
Christians.
Yeah, for Christians, that's what I'm specifically talking about. Because they're the ones who will hand wave this away as it's part of the times.
I mean, the whole entire idea of the Bible not changing is one of the reasons why Christians were okay with slavery, because back in the book that I've been reading about the slave trade, which I showed you, like the
thick ass book you have, yeah. Ridiculously thick book.
It's incredibly dense. But so the book talks about how one of the reasons that Christians, Christians were at the forefront of the abolition movement, and it explains why after this, but during this it says that they were okay with that owning slaves because of 2 reasons. One, Jesus' silence about slavery, the fact that Jesus made no condemnation of it. They were like, okay, that's cool. And then St. Paul had sat there and said that he said something along the lines of how, like, we should all be within what we were bound to be. And
Mm-hmm.
he talks about how slaves, like, if you are bound to be a slave, then that's what God has intended for you. And these are the two things that Christians back in the day used to continue the use of the slave trade.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Absolutely.
and then, of course, later on, they start trying to push for abolition. But like Wilberforce, one of the biggest things that he absolutely disliked was the fact that there were Englishmen who were being enslaved by Irish, and so he went and lambasted against that. He wasn't against like slavery as a whole. He just didn't like Englishmen being enslaved.
Yeah, exactly.
It was also, sorry, it was
Go ahead.
also different denominations that started slavery and that were on the verses that were on the front end of abolition. So it was like Puritans and people like them who were of the enslaving denominations, whereas like the Quakers were on the front end. They pushed for abolition.
Mm-hmm.
And it was banned. If you were a Quaker, you were banned before the abolition of the slave trade. They were banned from owning slaves if they were a Quaker.
Yeah, and whenever abolition finally started kind of picking up steam, and the people who were at first fine with slavery, the only reason why they even remotely became uncomfortable with it was the fact that during this time frame, all slaves were forced to leave their previous faith and become Christians. So the forced Christianization made them uncomfortable because now they have enslaved their fellow Christian. And so that made them uncomfortable. And so the people who were on the side of slavery started switching over because of the fact that it was like, well, I don't want to have a fellow Christian as a slave. That's not right.
Yeah.
So it had nothing to do with the fact that these were human beings. It was the fact that they were Christian now.
Yeah, exactly. And so, and you know what the worst part about that is, I didn't learn about that until like first year of taking African American studies in college, because in high school it was all painted as, oh, abolitionists were these, people who were just they were just so benevolent, and they just didn't like the injustice of slavery. No, they didn't like the injustice of people who had converted to Christianity being slaves. That's what it was. Yeah, that's exactly right.
This is why you should always be like John Moses Brown.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Now that's one dude I can get behind. Okay, we have a guest, Sanka. All right, let's see what Sanka has for us. How's it going, Sanka?
Doing good. How are you?
Yeah, doing well. Okay, can I get your age and pronouns?
I'm 23. He, him.
Okay, thank you. And which God do you believe in? The God of the Bible, the Torah, or the Quran?
The Quran.
Okay, justice for Aisha. All right. What's your best evidence that God is real?
So let me ask you this first. Ask you questions.
Okay.
Question number one. Do you want what kind of evidence do you want? Do you want empirical evidence? Do you want logic evidence, or you want testimonial evidence?
I'd say, like, for example, a logical argument might work. We could do the same kind of evidence that, your mom is real, because that's not scientific, right? Necessarily. You could use scientific evidence to prove your mom is real, but there's other ways that you prove your mom is real, right? So the bar is really low.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess the question though is why do you believe God is real?
Yeah. So well, I'm gonna do logical evidence. I mean, if you said empirical evidence, I was gonna laugh at you.
Okay.
Because everybody knows that my God is not something that you can observe, like like your mother or a person
Uh-huh.
or a thing.
Uh-huh. Would you say that this God makes sense then?
For me, he does.
Okay. Okay. And
So
in what way? Yeah. So yeah, go ahead, take us through it.
I'm gonna bring out the what do you call it? Uh, I don't even know what the argument name was. The argument that's argues that the the universe was designed
Okay.
by creator.
Okay. The universe was designed by a creator. All right. And how do we know that?
Uh, because creation implies creator. Nothing can be created. So somebody or something designed everything.
Okay. All right. So creation implies creator. All right. And so in that sense, I mean, because you could, if you took a liberal, view of creation, that everything, a lot of things were created, like planets, stars. Yeah. But I think what you're saying is like an intelligent mind was behind this. So how do we know that like an intelligent mind was behind everything?
Um, yeah, through revelation, through
Revelation.
yeah, through
Well,
prophets, through miraculous things, through signs, through things that cannot be explained by science, right? Through things like that.
well,
That's
real
how
quick,
you that's how you
before
believe
we
in.
can even get to that though, Trust, we still need to identify how is it that we are created before we can
Yeah.
even get to the creator.
It's a great
Like
question.
you cannot know. I mean, uh, you cannot know because you are you are made. So
Wait, so we
your
can't
knowledge
know
has
if
a
we're
limit
created or not?
to what you can know. You cannot know how he made you, what he used for. Like you cannot know that.
Okay.
I
Can't
mean,
Well, the
know
thing
how
is,
we were created. Yeah. Oh, you were about to ask, Hammy. So go ahead. I know
yeah,
yeah,
the
that's
next
yeah.
what
The
question.
thing
outside
is,
you.
like we can't know how we're created, but like I'm not even asking about how. I'm asking about how do you know that we are created, right? Not about how that came about, like how like all the things that went into it. How do you know that we are created?
Uh, because we exist.
Okay.
So
So we're created. We exist because, and that means we were created.
Like I don't understand the question.
yeah, so I'm asking because you said that we are created, and I'm asking like what makes you say that we're created?
Uh, so first of all, before religion and anything else, okay, do you do you think that everybody has the intuition? Everybody has a
No.
pattern recognition,
I,
something
I
within
think there are a
them
lot of
starts
people who
like
don't
a
have pattern
sixth
Yeah.
sense,
There's
recognition.
a
right?
lot of people who don't
You
have
call it
intuition.
you call it the
Hmm.
sixth sense, whatever. For
Yeah.
me,
A lot of
Again,
people don't have sixth sense.
um, I just know.
I judge some people's original five senses. I think some people like if they have the five senses, some people don't like know how to use them properly.
Yeah.
Okay. For me, I know that through intuition, whatever. I just feel that I was made.
Cool.
For
Okay.
you,
So it's a vibe.
you may not. I understand that.
Yeah.
For you, you may
It's
not.
all
You
your
just
vibes.
Okay.
yeah.
Well, see, here's the thing, Sanka, because people's intuition then tells them that Apollo, The Greek god Apollo is real. Lady told me that. A Hindu monk told me his vibe tells me that, the singular consciousness is real, and that he's 100% sure. And so how would we be able to know whose vibe is real between you, the Greek god believer, and the Hindu monk?
Um, I don't know, because this is something that I like, because this is like, leap of faith is a very personal. First of all, in the Quran, God says that every human possible that was, that's on this planet, was, they called it in Arabic fitra, meaning that they have this knowledge of a higher being. So for
Mm,
me,
Well,
um,
that just means that the
that
Quran is
first,
false.
yeah.
yes, that first combined with how I know, like, I cannot explain how I know it, but I
Well,
know
well,
there's a
Senka,
higher being. These two
that verse
combined makes
alone,
me think that I was
Senka,
created.
Yeah.
Senka, that verse alone is incorrect because not everybody has this. Even during the time frame whenever this was written, there were people out there who were questioning whether or not gods exist.
Yeah.
So,
Ancient
so
Greeks
not
were
everybody.
questioning it. Yeah. Ancient Greeks were.
No,
It's
no,
been
no.
a thing.
It says that every, uh, it's called fitra. Let me explain it very well.
Oh
It
yeah,
means
yeah.
that,
Yeah. Yeah.
so it
Okay, go
doesn't
ahead.
mean that you know him as a, his attributes, his characters, what he does, what he wants from you. It doesn't mean like that. It means that, that gap, like that room for wonder, thinking, that thought that, oh, there's something out there that made me. He said, I put it in every human. So for you,
Okay.
Yeah.
if you deny it, or if you don't want to hear it, if you don't want to exercise it, I don't care. But for me, I know it, and I'm gonna run with it, because
Well,
Okay.
that's the
So
thing, though, is that even with this clarification, there were still people out there who were out there thinking that there's nothing but what we can, like the natural world around us, that's out
yeah,
there.
they had no vibe. So like for
They had no
example,
vibe.
yeah, like Hammy and I and Ember, we have no vibe that God is real. Like there is no vibe. We don't feel it. We don't know it. And so that's what I'm trying to understand. If everyone knows, then how come we don't know?
so this is another thing that I cannot prove that your claim that you don't feel it is true or not. I cannot,
Correct.
because
It's
I'm not
unfalsifiable.
inside
Yeah.
you.
Just like we
Yeah.
can't prove your claim, just like you can't prove your, that's why I didn't ask you to prove your claim that you feel God. I just said it's just vibes, right? And then I compared it to people with other vibes. I didn't ask you to prove that. I accept that you have a vibe, right? But the problem with that is twofold. Number one, you can't distinguish it from people who have other vibes that other gods are real. And then there's people like us, like the three of us, who don't have a vibe.
But if you have that, I don't know. You can call it a different name. You can call it Jesus. But the thing is, do not deny what's real. This feeling, the vibe, whatever, is real. If it's real, um, you have to trust it.
Well, we
If
don't
you
I'm not.
have
call
a
it like
feeling though.
really saying,
Yeah. We don't
I
have a
don't
feeling.
have
We're
a
not
feeling
denying.
to
Yeah, we don't
deny.
have a feeling. We're not denying anything. We just don't have a feeling. Like Ember, do you have a feeling?
Ember.
Oh, they might be away.
Oh,
Oh,
my bad. I have my cat outside on the leash right now.
oh, no,
No.
no worries.
No, I do not.
Okay, so no feeling. And Hammy, you said you don't have a feeling. I don't have a feeling. So Sanka, yeah,
I like, and the thing is like, it's not even for a lack of trying, right? Because I
right.
was a Christian for several years, and I tried my hardest. I even, like, whenever I went to go and when I lost my faith, I like I was accepting of any and every sign that this God was real, including just a breeze in the room would have convinced me at that time that God was real. And I didn't even get that, so I didn't even have that feeling that there was anything there.
Yeah, I even read the Quran twice. No feeling. Nothing.
yeah. I mean, God in the Quran says that uh, he did that, and if he did, if you don't have it, then you're fine. I mean, you have something to say in the day of judgment, Yom
Okay.
Qiyamah, you can
Well,
say.
okay, I hear that.
But
Now let's run a little comparative
because
because
he knows
in
what you know. Okay, I'm a
okay,
human. I cannot know, but he knows what's in
right.
your heart.
Okay.
He
So
knows
if he
you
knows
had
what's in
that.
our heart and Allah is real, then he would know that we don't know. And we don't feel
Yeah,
anything. Like he would know that. Because I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
and
not lying. We're not lying to you, and we're not
I have nothing to
delusional.
gain for lying. I
Yeah.
have nothing to gain here from lying.
Yeah. So it's just I'm just saying that that's just not true for us. And
And if Allah's gonna punish me for honestly and truly not having a feeling that He exists,
no, he
then
will not.
what the fuck is
He
that?
will not. He will not.
Oh,
He says he's just and he's fair. He even says this.
ooh, he's just
The
and fair.
people that
mm.
the people that don't know, the people that who have not, received the word, you know, uh, and they never heard about him, and they just died like that.
Well,
When the day of judgment, there will even be, different case. They will be judged differently than everybody else. Everybody
you
else will be asked.
just kind of told us about him, and I have read the Quran twice. So I mean, I know if Allah is real, I know about Allah. I just don't have any evidence that Allah is real. I have no feeling whatsoever.
And I've
No,
and I've been told about Allah.
you heard about him, but you were not convinced. The people that will be punished is the people that get convinced, that know the truth, but just say out of ignorance,
So
this is bullshit.
so real quick, let's say that I was raised in the Muslim faith, right? Let's say for shits and giggles, let's say I was raised in the faith. And then as I got older, I realized I didn't have this feeling that the community around me had, and I then deconvert away from the faith and become an atheist. What does the Quran say will happen to me?
Well, I mean, why did he leave? Why he left the faith?
I left
He
because
left
I realized I did not have that feeling that the rest of my Muslim brothers and sisters and whatnot felt, right? I didn't have that feeling. And so I left the faith.
and nothing else was
And when
like
asked
you're not
when
gonna
asked
impress.
why I left, that's the reason I gave.
I
Yeah.
mean, if you left because you're not convinced, that you don't know anything, that you think that you've been lied to for whatever reason, then you're
Mm.
still considered ashab al-araf, meaning the
So
people who
what
don't
does
know.
the Quran say should happen to me as an infidel now?
You'll be given just and fair judgment, which is different than those of the other people
What
that who know the truth.
What
You'll
judgment is
be
that?
God,
Yeah, I'm
yeah.
curious. I'm curious,
God
Amy.
will give you another assignment to see, you know, in where you have a free will to do whatever but then we don't know what that is. He didn't tell us in the Quran. He said they will just
Oh,
suffer different.
he doesn't tell you in the Quran what happens to the one who turns away from the faith.
Turns away from the truth, turns away from him. They
Yeah.
know him, but then they
But
we
then
don't know
they
what's wrong with those people,
again,
but
my scenario
clearly in
is
the
that
Quran.
I was raised in there. I had that feeling at one time, and then I lose that feeling, and I don't feel that feeling anymore. So I turned away from my faith. I turned away from Allah Himself. What does it say is going to happen to me? What does it say that should happen to me while I'm on this earth?
If you turn away out of ignorance and stupidity and hatred and thinking that you're special and you wanted him to treat you differently or whatever, like sometimes children do to their parents, then guess what? You'll go to hell.
Okay.
But What is my fate here on this earth? Not just what's going to happen to me whenever I'm unalived, but what's going to happen to me while I'm on earth? What should the people do to me?
I mean, nothing. Nothing will happen to you. Just live 9 to 5 like a
Really?
normal person. Yeah,
Are you
sure.
sure? So you're telling me that if I looked in the Quran right now and I pulled up a verse that says the people who have turned away from the faith should be put to unalivement, you're going to say that that Quran verse is what? Fabricated or wrong?
I don't know where you're getting that. Is it in times of war? Is it in when people were trying to take other people's lands and it was about
No. It is about the person who has turned away from the faith. Those who were once part of Allah, who have turned away from Allah, that they should be put to unalivement. Not people, not the pagans you meet in times of war when you've sat there and told them either they can leave from this place or convert. It's not a conversion, it's a deconversion. It's moving away from the faith, and that is punishable by unalivement. It's one of the reasons why in most Islamic countries today people are jailed, and when they're for the same thing, and whenever they're jailed, they end up being put to unalivement.
that's bullshit. There's freedom in Islam, bro. You can do, you can leave, you can join.
Do what?
There's freedom in Islam. Nobody's
We
gonna
have
lie to you.
freedom. Well, that's funny because, like I said, whenever, like, there's several accounts of today where people who have sat there and merely lost their faith, and that's what they've said. They have not only been shunned by their family, but the authorities are on them. They've had to move from place to place to try to get to someplace safe, so that way they can get out of the area they're in, so that way they can be free. And you're telling me that Islam brings freedom?
No, those are not Muslims, man. I don't know what kind of people you're talking about. Are you talking about the kind of people created by the Americans who are
No.
terrorists?
I'm talking
Are you
about
talking
people
about
who
those
are
kind of
living.
Muslims?
I'm
They're
talking
not
about the
even
people who are
Muslims, man.
living in the Muslim countries who were Muslim, who then lost their faith in these Muslim countries, and they end up trying to flee for freedom. Go ahead.
I don't think
Go
that's
ahead, Trust.
with the
I
purpose.
hear you trying to chime in.
No, go ahead.
Oh, but yeah, no. These are
going.
people. These are people who are today. This is not. This isn't even in like the long, far way past. Today, there are people who have been doing this, and the thing is I've seen them all over because of the fact that I've been in this side of the internet for over 10 years. And I've been watching this. I've been watching people who sit there and have had to have gone online, and they had to use pseudonyms. They had to use fake names and fake voices because they said, if I'm caught saying these things out loud, that I don't believe that Allah is real, that I don't believe in this stuff anymore, that I don't believe in the Prophet Muhammad, and they say these things out loud, they will be thrown in jail, that they will be unalived for their non-belief. Not even sitting there saying something like I would say, right? Where I would say something like, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, right? I'm not even that. They're not even saying anything derogatory about the Prophet Muhammad. They're not saying anything derogatory about Allah. They are saying only that they do not believe in this anymore, that they don't believe that the Prophet Muhammad was a prophet of any God, and that there is no God.
Okay, give
And
me
this
proof.
is what
I don't
gets
think
them
this
in
is
jail.
true.
You don't
I
think
don't
it's
think
true?
Muslims don't do that.
Really? You don't think that actually happens?
I don't know where you're getting this
So if
information.
I look up right now on Google, if there's anybody in like Muslim countries who become atheists that are imprisoned for that. You're saying that I'll get 0 search results for that.
There was a guy on AXP. What was his name? Was it, I want to say Armin? Was his name Armin?
Armin Navabi?
Yes. And
The
he's
one
from
who
Iran. He's from Iran.
and he created he co-created Atheist Republic.
Yes.
And he was from Iran and he moved to Canada. He was one of the lucky ones, because had he still been in Iran while
We're going to talk about
also
that many
being
times.
part of
Yeah.
Atheist Republic, he would be thrown in jail.
Yeah.
Iranians are not even you know, they're confused Muslims, man. God says in the Quran, don't say that somebody who claims to believe in the Prophet and me
Sorry.
call them
Oh,
otherwise.
Jesus. Oh, somebody got the bad signal. Okay.
That was my alarm.
Because of
My
that
bad.
reason, I'm not going to call them non-Muslim. But they don't really, you know, believe in the teachings of Muhammad. They have some other different ideologies.
Okay.
But and also these other radical Muslims that are unaliving people, forcing those are also not the teachings of our Prophet.
Oh,
Islam.
before we let the new guest that has come up here speak, I just want to say this is part of Google's AI overview, and they're pulling from Stanford. What is this? Stanford Social Innovation. And it sits there and talks about, well, they pulled from several different sources. But anyways, it says atheists and ex-Muslims are fleeing many Islamic countries due to severe persecution, including threats of unalivement, imprisonment for apostasy, and family violence. While an underground movement of non-religious individuals is growing, many risk their lives and seek asylum in Europe or Western nations to escape stringent religious laws and social persecution. Are you telling me that all of this information that I found at my fingertips just now are lying?
Yes, it could be lying. Give me the
Okay, cool.
first.
Wow.
Ems.
Okay,
Hi.
Ems. Hey, Ems.
Yes. Sika, I want to introduce you to my really good friend here, Ems. Ems, how you doing, buddy?
How's it going, Ems? It's good to see you. Hey, they said I do a pretty good impression of you. I tried it. And I tried it, and they thought it was a very good impression. What do you think, Ems?
You sound sexier, so.
Oh, that is a compliment. Thank you. Well, I'm imitating you, so you're only talking about yourself. How about that? I love it.
So what's up?
Yeah.
All right.
Do you want to chime in on anything of the conversation we just now were talking about?
Yeah, this is Senka, who's a Muslim.
I mean,
and
there's.
Yeah, go ahead.
He's a new Muslim.
Yes, I
A
am.
new Muslim, a new one.
Sorry.
And what gives you the right to speak on the experiences of people who've been born into Islam or live in Islamic countries?
Are you from Iran?
I'm not from Iran, no.
What part of the Muslim world are you from?
It doesn't matter, just that I am.
Yeah, he is. He doesn't want to dox himself. Yeah, and Ems is a native Arabic speaker. Do you know Arabic, Senka?
I don't know. I wasn't going to. I don't know Arabic very well, but I know some Arabic.
That's fine. I'm just saying he's a native Arabic speaker, so he comes from a Muslim country.
Yeah, but why is he not like what type? Which country he's from?
It doesn't matter. It simply doesn't matter.
We don't want to dox him. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's not about doxing. Like I can tell you which country I'm from. No, Habibi. I can tell you, Habibi, Senka. It doesn't matter. Again, everybody on TikTok who knows who I am knows which country I'm from. I'm not telling you because it doesn't matter to the conversation at all. It doesn't matter at all. It doesn't. If I'm from Saudi Arabia or from the UAE, Habibi. If I'm from the UAE, from Saudi Arabia, from Kuwait, from Qatar, from Oman, from Yemen, from Egypt, from Jordan, it wouldn't matter. The treatment is still the same. And you denying it is simply ignorance and disgusting. Plainly.
No, I'm not gonna come here and tell lies and
Lies,
represent
I'm
people
lying. You're a dumbass then. Again. This is people are
people who
suffering,
don't
Habibi.
even.
People are suffering. People are suffering.
No,
People are suffering. Yes, they are.
no, bro,
People are
no.
suffering. Really? What Muslim
Yeah.
country have you been to?
That guy, Hami, can you give me the verse that says and tells the Muslims to unalive people who live the religion?
The verse doesn't have to be a verse, it's a hadith.
No, it has to be from. It has to be
Yeah, no,
from
it doesn't.
Quran.
It doesn't have to
And
be a
this is
verse. Okay,
okay.
I'm gonna explain to you,
Do you even know? Sometimes I
Habibi,
agree with some scholars, even
yeah,
though I'm
newcomer,
Muslim.
Habibi, newcomer, Habibi. Since you're a newcomer to Islam, I understand that you know nothing about it, but you have four
I'm not
sources.
newcomer.
No,
I'm
you are a
born into
newcomer.
this religion.
You were born into
Was
this
born
religion.
with
Can
it.
you read the second page of
I
the
was
Quran? Can you recite it? Can you recite the second page
23
of the
years
Quran?
old. I'm Muslim for
Sure,
23 years
you're
old.
22 years old.
Talking about.
Can you recite the second page of the Quran? Go ahead.
Surah Al-Baqarah.
Uh-huh. Just the
Like,
second
you mean
page.
like I can open
No,
the
don't
book.
open
I
it.
haven't
Recite the
memorized it.
second page. It's literally 4 sentences long, the second page.
ألف لام ميم ذلك الريب لا.
ذلك what?
ألف لام ميم ذلك الريب.
ذلك البيضة? What is البيضة? You said this
I gotta
egg.
open the book now.
If you don't even know how to recite the second page of your holy book, you're not qualified to speak on anything.
Of course I can recite. I just haven't memorized it.
No, you can't. You said you literally said this egg. What do you mean this egg? He literally said this egg, as in like the egg from a chicken. What egg, bro? It's ذلك الكتاب, this book, not this egg.
I don't have the Quran with me right now.
You don't have to
Why are
have
you
it with you. Habibi, you don't have to have it with you. This is the second page. If you've ever opened the book, then this is the page on the left. It's on the left-hand side of the first page of the Quran. You will be able to
Not
memorize it
everybody
and recite
memorizes
it.
it though. Not everybody
It's the second
memorizes
page of the book. The second page of the book.
So what?
2 pages in.
I don't have it in my head.
Sure, then if you don't have it in your head, then you're not qualified to be telling me what is right and what is wrong.
If you want to check my, if I'm a legit Muslim, maybe you ask something like Surah Fatiha because everybody recites it.
Habibi, no, I'm not asking. No, I believe you're a Muslim, Jamil. I believe you're a Muslim. The problem is you're a Muslim who doesn't know much about his religion. If Surah Al-Fatiha has the first page of the Quran, everybody knows it. Everybody knows it. The second page, I'm testing you on the second page because anybody who's actually bothered to be a little just deep into the religion would have the second page memorized.
No, that's bullshit.
Yes. It is not bullshit, you're just a dumbass.
I memorized other verses in the Quran except that page. What does that say then?
Again, it means that you haven't bothered to read the second page of the book. Because the second page of the book, it's 4 sentences long and it's very simple. It says, Alif Lam Mim, this book, there is no doubt within it. It is a guidance to those who believe. Those who الذين يؤمنون بالغيب, those who believe in the ghaib, or the unseen, ويؤتون الزكاة, ويقيمون الصلاة, and establish prayer, ويقيمون الصلاة ويقيمون الصلاة ومما رزقناهم ينفقون. Those from what we have given them, they spend. This is literally just 4 sentences from the second page. You should be able to memorize it in Arabic and say it. ألف لام ميم ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين الذين يؤمنون بالغيب ويقيمون الصلاة ومما رزقناهم ينفقون.
So what's your point? Because I don't know.
But my point is that if you don't know the second page of the book, you're not qualified to tell me what it says.
I cannot, call you.
No, I'm telling you, you don't know anything. If you don't know the second page, you don't know anything.
I know
Host, how many books have you read? How many books have you read, Host, in which you haven't read the second page?
I know, but I know the basics. I know what makes the person.
0.
I know what's needed. I know.
Safely say 0.
I pray 5 times a day. I know what every Muslim knows.
Sure. Do you know what every Muslim knows? Really?
Yeah.
Do you? Do you
Not a
want to
lot of
test that?
people memorize the Quran.
Sure, sure. Could you
The
tell me the
book
four
is
sources of
available all the
the
time
four?
to us.
Sure.
I know
Can
how
you
to
tell me the four?
recite it. Just
Jamil.
get the book and
Can you
read
tell
it.
me the four sources of Hujjah?
Sorry?
Can you tell me the four sources of Hujjah?
I don't hear you well.
What are the four sources of Hujjah?
What does that word mean?
Argument. The four sources of argument.
No, what's that?
The four sources of argument upon a Muslim. You don't know them?
No, there's no such thing. You're
There
just
is,
making it up right
Habibi.
now.
No, it is not. No, it is the Quran, the Hadith, the Ijma, and the Qiyas. It is for every Muslim knows this. Okay, Jamil, what are the 6 articles of faith?
Is believe in Allah, the messengers, the prophets, the angels.
The messengers and messenger. No. Tell me the first one is so and so, the second is so and so, the third is so and so, the fourth is so and so, fifth is so and so, and the sixth is so and so. Go ahead.
Okay. The first one is the Shahada. Okay, you have to.
No. The first one is not the Shahada. That is the articles. That is the pillars of Islam. That is different from the articles of faith.
But the articles are you believe in the messengers God sent. You believe in the Day of Judgment. You believe in the.
Yeah, Habibi, I asked you to give me them one by
You
one.
want them in order. You want
yes,
them
the
in
order.
order.
Yes.
No, I don't have them in order.
There's in the Quran. In the Quran, sure. Give me them. Tell me one of them is so and so. The second is so and so. It doesn't have to be in order. Go ahead.
It is in order if you want me to number them.
Sure. Tell me.
So there are 6, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have to believe in messengers. You have to believe in angels. You have to believe in the Day of Judgment. You have to believe in Prophet Muhammad.
No. You've already said that. That is one of them. That is the third. That is the fourth pillar of faith. You already said it. Why are you repeating it again? It's very simple. It's God, the angels, holy book, prophet, the day of judgment, and fate.
So I give you 3.
Sure. My nephew that wasn't born, that hasn't been born yet, can give you all 6 of them.
Bro, I don't memorize these things, but of course.
Sure, then these are very basic. These are very basic things within the faith. If you don't know them, you don't have the knowledge to give me actual jurisprudence rulings upon what is and what isn't. And you don't get to tell people what people are going through when you don't even know anything about your religion.
Of course, I know. I knew enough to call him on the fact that he was saying that it's in the Quran that God says that people who live their religion should be unalive. I was able to catch him on that
sure.
line.
So that isn't number one. That isn't number one. He was mistaken. No, Habib. He was mistaken because that is not within your book. It's within the Hadith, and the Hadith is still. Can you tell me what is the difference between Quran and Hadith? Go ahead.
This is just the
No, I want an actual definition within Islam, like an actual Islamic definition of the difference.
It's the teachings of Prophet.
What is no. According to the actual definition of what Hadith is, it is revelation by God in which the sayings are attributed to the Prophet, and the Quran is saying revelation by God in which the wording is attributed to God.
No,
both are revelation. Hadith is revelation.
It's not. That's bullshit.
It is revelation. It is literally everybody agrees. You're just a dumbass again.
No.
It literally is. The Quran itself says it is.
This is not from God, man. What are you talking
about? It is, yes. You can literally look this up. Everybody agrees. You're just dumb.
What kind of Muslim are you even?
It doesn't matter what kind of Muslim I am. I was Muslim. I was Sunni.
Because the Shias believe that it's the Sunnis don't say Hadith. Oh, bro.
I know Sunnis do. You're just dumb. Again, you just don't know anything.
Now I know.
Really? Then can you name me the four? Can you name me the 4 schools of Sunni Islam? Go ahead.
Sahih al-Bukhari,
Wait, what? Huh? I said, can you name me the four schools of Sunni Islam? And you said Sahih al-Bukhari?
No.
Okay. And there it is. I was just going to say,
that is embarrassing.
Wow. Yeah. That was. And man, this happens all the time. How come this happens all the time, Hems?
Because they rely upon...
he left.
They depend upon seeing a random American guy and thinking he's not going to know anything. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Wow. I was just saying in the comments, Ems, that we all felt like we were at somebody's house for dinner, like a family, and an argument breaks out, and we're just trying to sit there, just eat our food.
I'm like, this mashed potatoes just. Oh, okay, never mind. I'll stay quiet.
I'm just trying to eat my peas and carrots, man. So.
We're over here trying to make small talk amongst each other very quietly, or being like, hey, yeah, so this steak is delicious, and here y'all two are just getting louder and louder as we're trying to be like,
well, Ems is just
we don't see this.
Well, Ems is putting
for the Christian audience. Yeah, for the Christian audience. So I asked him, what are the four? For example, I asked him, what are the four gospels? And then he went on and said, and he went on quoting me, for example, church fathers. What are you talking about?
Yeah. So just complete nonsense.
Aaliyah says I can go into the store now.
So Aaliyah just waited for you to do that. Aaliyah just sat in her car and listened to you.
Just listening to you, completely, like Trent said, put belt to ass. God, that was so good.
Okay.
Anyways, I'm gonna be dropping unless.
Thank you so much, Ems.
Is Fam at Noor requesting?
Ems.
Is Fam at Noor? Yeah, he's not in my queue, but yeah, we can ask him to come up because he's on something. Yeah, he's been chirping, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Well, all right. Well, if you
Aaliyah,
got time,
you may not be able to go. Aaliyah, you may not be able to go into the store.
Yeah, you may not be able to go just yet. Yeah, exactly.
I doubt he's going to come up. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, if he comes up, then you may want to stay in the car for just that much longer.
Oh, I'm gonna go make some popcorn if Fam comes up. Just saying.
If he comes up, I'm going on mute and staying on mute the entire time because Ems is going to just be like, "Oh yeah, go ahead." I loved it because it's that Philbro stuff of that.
Oh yeah, the reverse Philbro. But I'm merely at this part. I'm merely just Ems's. Pull this shit up for me, boy. He's like, bring up this hadith, bring up this surah. That's all. That's who I am. To Ems.
Yeah,
just pulling up
it's
shit.
Funny. Yeah, it's funny because I sat there and waited, and when I saw Ems join, I was like, okay. So I sat there and was like, I wanted to make sure. I was like, hey, are you telling me? I just read this thing. Are you telling me that these people are lying? He said yes, and then I was like, all right, good, perfect. Ems, go ahead, take it away,
Perfect
buddy.
timing.
Go ahead.
Perfect timing. So, okay. Well, Fam didn't accept the request, sadly.
Thank you for the gifts, but I'm going to be dropping now. Thank you.
All right.
Have a good day.
Have a good night,
right,
Ems. Thank you.
Have a good one.
Oh, Ems is lovely. I love Ems.
It was so.
I'm just facilitating Ems. Yeah, exactly. And the fact that did anyone send out the Ems bat signal? Yes, thank you, Ems, as always. I didn't, because I was kind of waiting. Oh, Crystal, you did. Okay. Well, we gotta hear the post game about that. So we're conducting a post-game interview of Ems putting belt to ass to a Muslim. Crystal, you were on the field as Ems took up a guest as a co-host. But what prompted you to send out the bat signal?
Well, thank you, Trust. I appreciate your question. I heard the guest making unreasonable claims about the fact that people's lives were not in danger once they left the Islamic faith. So therefore, I thought it was very important that we get our pitch hitter in at the last minute and show these people what's really the truth.
Yeah, wise decision. Now, I did have my finger on the button for the bat signal, but I thought, thinking there might be a better time to do this, but it looks like you had the wiser move, and you actually brought Ems in at the perfect time, because as Hammy indicated, Hammy had just finished his thought and Ems came right up.
Well, I did know that time was of the essence, and sometimes it can take a little while for Ems to answer the Ems signal. So I wanted to make sure that we had plenty of time to get the play put into action, as
Very
you say.
wise,
So
very
I'm
wise.
going to W for
Crystal.
the atheists.
Well, Crystal, us here in the studio, we definitely appreciate your hard work out there in the field, and it's very, very well needed.
It's very much
Well,
appreciated.
I appreciate all of you, and back to you, Trust.
And now,
Thank you so much, Crystal.
Now to Ember for weather.
Yeah, not to Ember for the weather.
It is dark
Amber,
and
I hear
stormy. It is dark and stormy, like the crevices of my soul.
Ember, I hear that we're going to be experiencing a lot of rain, as far as raining down these hitch slaps, if you will. Am I hearing this correctly?
Oh, yes. I don't know what that voice was earlier, Hammy. Yes. We are definitely catching these sightings of many bitch slaps being raining down, and I do believe we don't use that term anymore, but we are seeing a lot of slaps, a lot of just curb stomping is happening, and you know what? It is all justified. It is all fair game, and yeah, I think it's going to be a great turnout today for the curb stomping. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you for that.
Well, I guess Christopher Hitchens isn't doing the things anymore, so hitch slap is outdated. God dang it.
Yeah. So what a day, guys. It was a bit slow there, but how about this? I do have to close up, but how about ending on an appearance by Ems? I mean, I don't think you could get any better than that, can you? Like, that was just fantastic. Just fantastic. And the way Hammy, like, you introduced him, like, right at the perfect moment. It was just serendipitous. Serendipitous. So, we do like a good Ems thrashing. We do enjoy that.
Maybe there's someone else in the microwave.
Hi.
Corn dog.
Hi. See, we
hey.
love it when Jessica's like the family sounds from Jessica's mic. Hey. Oh, you got so much to say.
I love it.
I know, right?
I didn't even realize the mic clicked on.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm about to joke. No, it's all good. It's all good. And so, boy, we got a full house today. We have Peg and Sunny and Jessica and Ember and Forever Atheist. So, as you all know, these are the mods, and they do a fantastic bang up job here. So, so please show them some love, and of course, show Hammy some love too for being King Hammy of Hamelot, doing a delightful reading. And we also need to recognize and thank the mods over on the YouTube side, Blastermaster 80, Rainbow Ash. You guys are spectacular. Thank you all. Thank you all for everything that you do. So you guys make this fun to do, and very enjoyable, very entertaining. And again, Ems doing it, making a guest appearance is fantastic, and hearing Jessica's little baby is fantastic too.
Hey, look. He already said hi.
Yeah, I said hi like 30 times, but that's okay. I don't know what the banging sound is, Rissa. I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't hear any banging. So
Yeah, I don't hear it.
yeah.
I heard some like fan noises, but I don't.
Oh yeah, that's me and my computer. So sorry, I can't do much about that. Yeah, unfortunately, I have like the noise suppressant on, but sometimes it'll it'll do it. Okay. Oh yeah, we got to bring 3 pips up. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, we'll drop Hammy. So
drop.
Yep. But last one for Hammy. Thanks, Hammy. Appreciate you. But we're gonna bring 3 pips up. Okay, we'll bring up 3 pips. So 3 pips. They're another one that we love. So thank you, 3 pips. And then we may see a 7 Lemons appearance, but nope, no 7 Lemons today. But we also we thank 7 Lemons too. So thank you guys. I appreciate you. I see the work you do in the chat, and you guys are awesome and amazing. So I really, really appreciate it. So last thing, who will we raid today? Who do you guys have on the slate? Oops, sorry. I had it turned up for the last guy that was up. Okay. So we've got the Resurrected Skeptic, Miniquan, Dark Knight. So we got a few choices. So what do you guys think? So, and of course there's Deconstruction Zone and Monkey Boy. So we got quite a few people up tonight. So who do we think? I'm thinking the Resurrected Skeptic. Resurrected Skeptic has okay. So we got Dark Knight. Actually, let's do Dark Knight because Dark Knight did come up yesterday and was a co-host. So I want to return the favor. Let's raid Dark Knight. Let's do that. DARKNYT. And
sounds good.
Yeah, let's do Dark Knight. All right, that's awesome. And so let's go over there. We'll raid and show him some love.
Look at that unanimous vote for Dark Knight.
Yeah. What's that, Forever?
I said I mod for him too.
Oh, see?
Just to let you all know.
That's right. So, well, there you go. So that's a lot of reasons to go raid Dark Knight. So let's do it. All right. I will see you guys over at Dark Knight and enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Today is Wednesday. And I'll see you all tomorrow. We'll do this again. And you know what? Maybe we'll get a bingo winner tomorrow. We got to do it. We'll do it. We'll do it tomorrow. I'm optimistic. We'll get one tomorrow. All right, guys. Have a great day. And I'll see you over at Dark Knight and take care. Bye.
Bye.